I'm going live and stuff. I guess you're going to catch up. Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, help us encourage responsible keeping, conservation, and public education in the interest of keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as we protect them for future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. We're getting all set up here. And we made it to another Saturday, somehow. It's been an incredibly busy day again. And I know everybody's all excited to see our guest for today. And it's really nice to see him as well. Let me go ahead and bring him up. There we go. Hey,
hi there.
This is the man that needs no introduction. For those of you guys that don't know, this is Bob Bledsoe. He's
hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm hearing double. Are you guys hearing double?
Are you? Okay, let me see if I can't fix that. I'm not hearing double over here.
Okay. Yeah, there's about a 10-second. Nobody else is saying that they are, so maybe it's a problem on my end. Okay.
Right.
Everybody else is saying nope.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be annoying.
I'm going to get rid of my headphone situation.
All righty.
Yeah, give me just a minute.
Yeah. Well, you're doing that. Like I said, most of you guys that are on here and hang out with us on Saturdays typically also follow Bob. I know a lot of folks that are really excited to get to see you tonight. Who do we have on? DJI Fly. It's kind of funny. That name popped up. I've got a DJI mini drone that I was out taking some waterfall video of today, or with today. So Keith Harper is here. I understand Keith is from the UK. So I think you guys are, 6 hours ahead of us or something like that. So it's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning out there. Chuck, good afternoon, evening. How you doing? How is Niles doing? Niles is doing amazing. I actually had him out again a couple days ago. And man, I swear he's just getting bigger and his nails keep getting sharper every time I take him out. He got me right down my neck right here. It hurt every day.
Okay, now you got to tell me if this screws up your audio.
No.
If I have my regular speakers playing.
No, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. Everybody else, jump in the comments and make sure that I'm not screwing up the audio because my speakers are playing and that's going to hit the microphone.
I got you.
If I need to, I'll get another set of headphones. But everybody just let us know if your sound is good.
Right. Let's see.
That's so crazy because we were having a chat before and my things were in and it didn't start doing that until we started broadcasting.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, good. Jar Jar says everything sounds good. Perfect.
Good. Outstanding.
Erica.
Yeah. Colleen, that's my mother coming in the house. Colleen Campbell.
What's that? Your mother? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's my mother. She's got.
Oh, nice. My mom jumps into live streams as well.
Nice, awesome.
Hi, Colleen.
Yeah, she jumps on to keep me in check. Oh, yeah, that's you. Cool. Yeah, and we've got a lot of the folks that are on too are in our Patreon, and we typically actually do a Patreon meetup after the live streams on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. But because I had no idea. I know that we both can talk. So I was like, I can't guarantee we're going to be done before that. before the
yeah.
Zoom call. So
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run through the comments here real quick. Yeah. So for I'm going to guess most of the folks that are in here already know who you are. So what is it that you do generally as it refers to reptiles? Just kind of give everybody the rundown, I guess.
So I have a bunch of different species of python. Most of them are ball pythons, but I've got some black-headed pythons and super dwarf reticulated pythons. I have a pygmy python, and I have one boa. Did I miss any? Yeah, I think that's it. And a whole bunch of ball pythons. And so I raise them and I breed them sometimes. And, I'm not trying to be like a big breeder or anything, but I usually do a couple pairings a year. And I have this YouTube channel, Green Room Python.
How long ago did you start your channel?
3 years. It'll be 4 years in December.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. I'm right behind you. I'll be hitting 3 years in October.
Nice.
So, yeah,
nice.
I just started mine not too long ago. And for everybody in the comments, you guys know I do this solo so often, I just get used to running down the comments. I may miss a bunch of comments. I'm not going to be able to go through and read them all as we go through here tonight, or else I won't be able to keep up with conversation. So I can guarantee you guys that any super chats that you go through, those will definitely get read. And if you've got any questions that really need our attention, either super chat them or throw them up in caps or something like that so they stand out and we don't miss them. So
Tara mentioned my Ren Fair cup. I've actually never taken this coffee mug to Ren Fair, but it is made out of a horn. The one that I do have at Ren Fair is an actual horn.
Really?
Out of it.
That's awesome.
That's that.
Yeah, this is my cup.
That's awesome.
I've neglected to put the real rattle on there yet. So.
That is, I love a giant, ridiculous cup. That is amazing. I love it.
Everybody's got to have a cup. I almost wore my hat too, because I've got one really similar to yours.
Yeah.
That I wear every day. But man, it's real leather and it's friggin' heavy. It kind of gets uncomfortable after
and
a while.
Hot, probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you get out in the sun in that thing for a little while and it just sweat drips.
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, I was looking through some of your stuff. I was looking through some of your stuff on Facebook too, and I seen the Ren Fair pictures that you had up where it looked like you was juggling flaming axes and stuff.
Yeah. So my background is stand-up comedy. I'm a stand-up comic, and I used to just tour a normal, regular comedy show at comedy clubs and colleges and stuff. And I stopped doing that a number of years ago. And I wrote a show that's specific to Renaissance festivals and pirate festivals and stuff.
Right.
That's comedy, but it's in character. It's nothing like what I would do at a comedy club. And then you kind of need visuals at festivals like that because you're playing to drunk adults and children, which is kind of the same mentality, right? And so you got to have something visual as well. And I knew how to juggle already. I wasn't great at it. I had never performed it before. But I thought, look, if I just get the most dangerous things I could find, then I don't have to be a good juggler. Like I don't have to do tricks. I don't have to go behind my back or under the leg. I'm just flipping 3 things in the air and catching them. But if they're dangerous, if they're double-headed battle axes that are on fire, then maybe it'll be cool. And as it turns out, the audiences like it. I have chainsaw blades that I set on fire and cleavers and all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
It's a silly show.
Right. You do the chainsaws without the chains on them?
No, it's a chainsaw blade. So it has the chain, but it's not a chainsaw. It's a stick with a blade and a chainsaw chain on the blade.
Oh, okay. So it's like a zombie apocalypse.
It's
weapon.
A total zombie apocalypse thing. And I set that on fire. So and juggle those. Yeah, it's that's a show that like before COVID, before I had this channel, I was doing those shows so I didn't have to be out of town all the time because you can do those festivals. You just go play the festival for the weekend and come right back. Whereas touring comedy clubs, you have to be on the road all the time. So I was doing like half the weekends out of the year. I was probably doing 25 weekends or so of festivals. And then COVID hit and all my gigs shut down, obviously, because there, wasn't festivals. So I started the channel. I was like, well, now I have time at home to do stuff. I'm not doing any acting work in Los Angeles. I'm not doing any auditions. That's all shut down. Now I've got time. So I'll start this channel. And as the channel has done better, I'm able to take less gigs, which is really nice. I don't have to be gone half the weekends out of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same boat that Jeremy Turgeon, our friend out here, kind of the Brass Man Reptiles, kind of the same boat he's in, because he's a musician and trying to do the reptiles and keep up with his gigs and all that stuff all at the same time. So it keeps him hopping. And then he just got hired on full time as a USARK rep.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So now we've got our own USARK person like an hour from me out here in North Carolina, which is awesome.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, it's tough to keep up with doing a video a week and be on the road. So
yeah, it's got to be, because it's tough for me to keep up with a video a week just having a day job.
Yeah. It's a lot of work for sure.
A lot of times by the time I get home from work, I'm just drained, and it's like, okay, I need to make a video, but I don't want to push it and force it, and then it looks pushed and forced and fake and all that stuff, and it's like, I'm gonna take a nap instead.
Well, fortunately I'm in a position where I can, I don't have a day job that I leave the house for when I'm home, so I can wake up in the morning and go, all right, I'm going to shoot this thing now,
Right.
Which is what I did today. I just finished shooting a video before I got on with you.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to have a few. I'm getting ready to go to Oregon for several weeks in a row, and
cool.
I want to have several videos shot. So.
Right. You just going on vacation?
No, doing festival.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, festival shows in Oregon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now I always go over this every week, and we'll go over it again this week for USARK. Because we've got, and pull this up. I always kind of screen share it on the event that there's some new folks that hop in that aren't familiar. So real quick rundown for anybody that may be new about USARK. Now, we always go over the alerts and stuff like that, but of course, here the last few months, everything that has been an alert has been an issue. And these 5 states that we were focusing on has been shelved or nixed completely. Even that iguana ban that was down in Florida that they was talking about, that's even been shelved because everybody had gotten their emails, their phone calls and stuff down to them. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, people are paying attention. We should probably not do this. So if you guys are not currently USARK members, definitely go to usark.org. This is the website. They've got a little membership thing right here that you hit, and you just pick the one that you want to do. If you can afford it, the bigger memberships are up there because lawyers are expensive. And these other, the numbers make a huge difference. If you can do more, great. If not, at least get on for the numbers. So,
yep, for sure.
Yeah.
USARK is really important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was really, really surprised when Florida even nixed that iguana ban. I was almost 100% sure that was going to end up going through. Let's see. Okay, shut that down. Get out of there. So what? Let's see. Let me jump through and just see if there's any questions that I've missed. I don't think so. I think just everybody saying hello so far.
Brian's asking when you or I are getting anacondas. My answer is I got to have a much bigger facility to have an anaconda.
Yep.
Thanks for your suggestion, Brian.
Yeah, that's my answer too. Ours is hopefully going to be this summer. I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed. We've got some things that we're waiting on. It's hopefully going to come through this summer. If not, it'll definitely be by next year. But
so you actually are planning to get one?
Yeah. Well, what I'm wanting to do is to just find a place that's got enough room for me to expand out. And I want to have it set up so that, I've got my little living area right over here, and pretty much the rest of it is reptiles. And I've got enough room to bring people in and do handling sessions and things like that with folks. Because we do a lot of handling coaching with the bigger snakes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, a lot of folks will get a hold of me on Facebook, and, we'll get on, do video chats if they've got an animal that they're having a hard time working with, and just kind of help them read their behavior and kind of coach them through what to do.
Cool.
Because if you've never had any big snakes, or you've never had anybody really mentor you, it's kind of scary for a lot of folks.
Yeah, for sure.
But it'll definitely happen at some point. But the cool thing about anacondas is they're kind of slow growing. So
they're super slow growing. That is a good thing. They're also really docile. Like I've found them both times that I was in Suriname. I found wild anacondas and worked with them. And for the most part, they're super docile. After you worked with them for a few minutes, they realize you're not going to murder them. I had the first one that I worked with that I found that was wild was 7 or 8 feet long, probably. And that one would try and tag me occasionally while handling, but not too bad. Right. And then we found 2 on this last trip. One of them was 10 feet, and the sweetest snake, like just totally didn't feel threatened. Really, really cool animals. It'd be fun to have one.
Yeah, they're on my short list. I think green anacondas are just amazing. Boas in general, the strength that they've got.
Super strong. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my boa imperator out there is only like 6-7 feet, and pound for pound, he's stronger than my retics.
Yeah, absolutely. Their retics are incredibly strong, but a boa that's a similar size to whatever retic is going to be measurably stronger.
Yeah, I was looking for this picture that I'm going to put up, because I thought this was really cool when I almost put this one up. If I can get it up. Here we go.
That's it. That's a 10-footer. Yeah.
Is it? And you said that one was in Suriname?
Yeah, that was in Suriname. She was, I'm managing her head there. It looks like I'm holding her head hard, but I'm really not. She just there's so much skin under their chin that it's hard to not have a bunch up. So I kept my hand on her head, but she didn't struggle or anything. And I wrapped her around me so that we could take the picture and the video. Right. And she never, she didn't tighten or anything. She didn't even musk me, which was crazy.
Oh, wow.
We found a 5-footer a couple days later, a smaller boy, and he musked me like crazy. And anaconda musk is, I would say, my least favorite odor of musk. If I'm going to rate the odors of various snake musks, anaconda would be the lowest.
Really?
Yeah. They're not a pleasant smell.
That's pretty good incentive to make good friends with them. Quick.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so funny too coming through here, because I've seen a lot of people popping up saying, Bob, I've got that almost every live stream anyway, because Silent Bob, my Sri Lankan python back here, is like a little celebrity.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's always somebody out here saying, where's Bob? Go get Bob.
Now, wait a second. When you say Sri Lankan python, is it like a rock python? What is it? Yeah. It's
they've actually just recently gotten their own species designation. They were my understanding is that they started out being classified as a locality Indian rock python.
Okay.
And then
and now they're a separate species?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I had no idea. When did that happen?
I don't know. Because I was when I first got him, it was just kind of a crazy thing. Aubrey calls me up. He's like, I got this snake. I know you like working with crazy snakes. He's like, I got one that's crazy. He's not very big, but he's going to make good educational videos. And I went over there, and then I had started learning about the species about the time that I'd gotten him. I was calling him an Indian rock python, and then people were coming up and correcting me, saying, "No, dude, that's a Sri Lankan that you got." And so yeah,
Wow. So you can visually tell a difference, huh?
Yeah. I'm gonna go get him right now because I got half the chat right here saying, "Go get him."
All right, you get him. I'm gonna grab Echo, who's in the hide right above my hat, right there. She's been there since about 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna pull her out with a hook because she's probably looking for food right now. Where'd my hooks go? Oh. Let's see how this goes.
I know.
You guys, what if we both get bit while we're grabbing our snakes? Wouldn't that be a fun thing to witness?
That would be awesome.
Oh, you've already got yours. How old is that one?
If I had to guess, I would say he's probably between 2 and 3.
Wow, he's beautiful. Look at that. And he'll get big. Like he'll get the size of an Indian rock python, right?
No. My understanding is that it's much the same dynamic as with the locality retics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where they get a little bit smaller.
So they're more of a dwarf. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so pretty. Now I want one.
Yeah.
Really cool.
There was somebody here recently that had a clutch of them. At the time that I had gotten him, I was told that there was only about 20 of these in the United States. So.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the good things about not being a breeder is that I've got some friends that just breed amazing animals. And, if they've got something that needs a home that'd be good for educational purposes or something, they trust me to take it because they know I'm not going to go out and just, try and capitalize on the genetics and screw it all up for them. So.
Right. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
What a beautiful snake. Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to try and get his face up here in the camera. You can really see the difference. And I've got a little baby Burma about the same size back there too. And I use this all the time to show the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let me see if I can get a really good view of him up there for you.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that red head.
Yeah. And the musculature and the broadness on the back of his head there is so much more intense than like on a Burmese or something.
Wow. So cool.
Yeah. And we had the thing that got him so popular was that I filmed the first every handling session that I had with him until he quit trying to kill me.
Oh, nice. That's great. So how many was that?
10.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's when I first got him here. He was put into the bin when I went to pick him up. He was put in the bin with a hook. Closed the bin up, brought him home, and he'd bite me 15, 20 times. The first probably 3 times I'd handled him.
Wow.
And then we finally got him calmed down a little bit, and then by the 10th handling session, he stopped biting, stopped musking. So
nice.
Yeah, but we did a whole series with that. Just to kind of help show folks that have smaller snakes that like to bite, that they can work with them and get them over that without being afraid of dying. And they're not gonna kill you by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So cool. What a beautiful snake.
He is.
I just learned something about pythons that I did not know. I didn't know that was
really?
A species of python, the Sri Lankan. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're like I said, I wasn't familiar with them either until I'd gotten him. And then I found out, like I said, there was only like 20 of them in the country. And I was like, damn.
So cool.
But what are you doing? Yeah, I'm really proud of how well he's doing, man. He's the only one that's ever bitten me on a live stream too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
This snake is the only one who's ever bitten me on a live stream.
Really?
It's happened several times. She gets confused occasionally and tries to take a taste and make sure I'm not a rat or a bat.
Right. Nice. Yeah, I like this guy, but I'm still so partial to my retics. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, retics are pretty special snakes for sure. Their brains are different than a lot of other species.
Right. Yeah. I've talked with a lot of people that they message me asking, well, I want to get a retic, but I'm not sure this and I'm not sure that. And then you talk through everything, and then you've always got to throw that disclaimer out there. Once you get started, it's like Lay's potato chips, man.
Yeah, definitely. I think the small, for most people, is super dwarf. I mean, this is a 3-year-old retic, right?
Oh
here,
yeah. What percentage is he?
She is 50% Karrampa, 25% Kalatoa, 12.5% Slayer.
Oh wow.
So super high percentage.
Oh yeah.
With Karrampa being the biggest, and
Yeah.
Karrampa is considered the smallest locality.
Right.
I don't know how true that is, though. We're seeing Daniel Solis has been going to these islands, and he's saying that he's not seeing a difference in size. They're all pretty small.
Right.
They don't yet. I think there's a lot of people that have Kalatoas and Karrampas and such that just overfeed them, and so those snakes are getting bigger than they normally would in the wild.
Right.
But Daniel's not seeing a big difference in the sizes in the wild.
Yeah, I mean, it stands to reason that people will force them up to size in captivity. I mean, just like you see that so much in mainlands too. People just throwing food down their necks, trying to get them all. Trying to get these 20, 25-foot monsters.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because they just don't live that long.
Right.
When that kind of thing happens.
Yeah. Have you been up to Garrett's place for Retic Fest yet?
I'm going. I'm going
cool.
this year. Yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't been there yet, but I'll be there in July.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to that too. I went last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I think I'm going to make that my annual pilgrimage.
Nice. Yeah, I had planned to go last year, and I ended up. Oh, that was one of my trips to Suriname. I ended up going during Retic Fest. There's only certain times you can go because we're going there primarily looking for Cotter. No problem, everybody. She caught herself. She's climbing back up. I'm gonna let her go. Anyway, we're primarily going for Amazon tree boa or emerald tree boas.
Oh yeah.
And hang on, let me get her hide back. She doesn't want to hang out with me tonight. And to find them, you've got to go at a certain time in the month. You've got to go when the moon is at the smallest, a waxing or waning moon, but just a sliver, because otherwise they're not out.
Really?
So you won't find them in a full moon or even a half moon. You barely find them. So you've got to really plan your trip for the right time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess they're just really averse to any light at all. They just want it as dark as possible, huh?
Yeah, and I don't know why that is. I mean, my first assumption is that maybe they get predated on more if there's more light, but I don't know. I mean, nocturnal animals usually can see pretty well in the dark, so that may not be it. I don't know what the reason is for it.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, even us, I mean, humans don't notice it because of all the because all the light pollution that we're exposed to all the time. But, like in the military, we'd be out in the woods, of course, a lot. And if it's a full moon out and you haven't been exposed to any artificial light in a few hours, it's literally like walking around in the daytime.
Yeah.
Our eyes will adjust. So.
Yeah, for sure. And especially if you had special eyes that are designed to be able to see at night,
Right.
When we're out there looking for those snakes, we're shining a flashlight and looking for the eye shine because, like cats, they've got a special lens on their eye that helps them to see at night, and it reflects as soon as a light hits it. It reflects. Well, incidentally, spiders also have that eye thing. Spiders do, and I would have never known it until I'm out shining a light looking for snakes. You'll see these bushes that are just teeming with spiders. And I don't know why some are and some aren't, but you'll shine your light on a bush and it'll just start lighting up red, green, white. They have different colors. So it looks like a Christmas tree, but it's
Really?
spiders. It's terrifying spiders all over the bush.
Man,
Pretty crazy.
that's something else. Yeah, I can see that when I look at my cameras at night after all the lights are off. If you look through the IR, like especially with my big retics, I'll see them coming up, and you can see the light shine off their retinas.
Yeah,
So
it's cool. Hi, Tara.
hey, Tara, yes, hit the like. We got both Bobs on tonight, Tara.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think the closest thing I'd come to the spider thing is I know up by Michigan some years back when I lived up there. I remembered walking through the woods and the raccoons. I heard one of them start to growl, so I hit my flashlight and it was just eyes, like it was out of a cartoon almost.
Yeah.
They were all over the place. There had to have been 30 of them as I was shining my light around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, if I really pissed off these raccoons, they could kill me.
Yeah, they could for sure. Raccoons are aggressive and strong and very big sometimes, like surprisingly big.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always shocked when I'm just walking through the neighborhood or somewhere around Hollywood or something. There are raccoons everywhere. And at night, like you'll see one that's the size of a medium-sized dog. And it's a freaking raccoon. Like, how are they getting that big? It's crazy.
They're chow hounds, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
the trash pandas.
Yep.
Let me see if we can catch a couple questions here somewhere. Xander say he's hearing horror stories about running into banana spider webs. Those are cool. I wish we had more of those here. I love those.
Banana spiders?
Yeah, I think they're called that. They're called
the wandering spider. That's a deadly. Yeah, those are awful.
No, we must be talking about a different one. I'm thinking about the garden spiders or golden orb spiders or something like that.
Yeah, that's a different. Yeah, orb spiders are cool. I still am not comfortable with them, but the banana spider that's in the Amazon jungle, at least, is bad news. You don't want to see those. I'm not comfortable with spiders anyway, but when you add I don't want a spider walking on me. I don't want a harmless spider walking on me. That's terrifying to me. It's harmless. It's just walking, but it's terrifying to me. But if you add the fact that it's also a dangerous spider, it's the same as people that are afraid of snakes. They don't care whether it's a harmless snake or a harmful snake. They're just afraid of it, I'm kind of like that with spiders.
I'm trying to get some oxygen to my brain real quick.
I get it. It looks like he's good at disallowing that for you.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you, bud. It is amazing how a snake this size. My Burmese did that the other day. She got around my neck like that, and she's not much bigger than this, and just decided to squeeze. And I felt myself going out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, where's your tail? Where's your tail?
You got to be careful because you don't know when you're going to go out. Like you got to have the time to unwrap them, and you just don't know when you're going to pass out. So, yeah.
I just had that scene flashing through my head. Oh man, guy works with giant retics. He gets killed by his 4-foot baby snake.
Yeah.
That would be unfortunate.
It would be unfortunate for sure.
See, Keith was asking if I keep any blood pythons. I do not. I have a couple big retics, couple smaller retics, Burmese pythons. This one right here, a couple ball pythons, a couple hognose, milk snake, Florida king snake, boa imperator, green tree python. Who did I forget? Forgot somebody. But
how many snakes total do you have?
Less than 20. I keep The only ones I've really got the species that I've got the most of are retics. So I've got the 2 16-footers, and then I've got 2 males that are probably 7 foot. Then I got this little female over here I'm gonna get her out in a minute because she's a sweetheart. But yeah, I've got 5 retics, 2 berms, a Sri Lankan, 2 hognose, 2 ball pythons, milking the corn snake. So yeah, I mean we're probably close to 15 or so.
Cool.
And then I've got the 6-foot Nile monitor downstairs, who was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Yeah, monitors. I love monitors.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Awesome. He has been a handful, man. He's been a challenge to work with. So. Oh, awesome. Jar Jar, thank you so much. Super chat. Just thank you both for educating me as I was getting my ball python. Your videos allowed me to give her the best living arrangements possible. Also, a big nope on the spiders. Thank you, Jar Jar. We appreciate that. And it's good to hear those stories like that. It's I'm sure you probably get this all the time. Folks just contacting you saying, dude, thank you so much. My life is so much easier since I watched this, or.
Yeah, I do a lot of most of my videos are for snake keepers, but I also do a series that I call Introducing People to Snakes Who Are Afraid of Snakes. And there are people that watch my channel just for those videos because they're afraid of snakes, and it helps them. These people stand there and ask me questions, the questions that they're wondering, and I get to answer them. And so I've had a lot of people say that they have not only just gotten over their fear of snakes from watching those videos, but now they have a snake of their own or several snakes of their own. They've come to love them and decide that they want to keep them, which I think is really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Especially dealing with the bigger snakes and stuff when you start working with somebody and you can see that they're just terrified of their animal because they just have this one snake that doesn't like them. And then working through that, and then you're getting the messages back a year later saying, man, they're just so easy to work with now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Because it doesn't take much as long as you know what you're doing. Understand what you're doing. It doesn't take, for most snakes. There are certain species that are harder. But, the species that we're mostly working with, boas, pythons, stuff like that, it doesn't take a lot. You just have to handle them the right way, or get them used to you the right way.
Dave was asking how Kent's doing.
Kent is doing about as well as he can be. He works at a job that he's terrified of, basically. So it's a tough situation when you're the cameraman of a Python channel and you're terrified of pythons. It's a difficult life for Kent. But he's doing well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That was something that I don't know. Like I said, as I start working up my production and stuff on the channel here, I might start playing around with an alter ego or something just for fun one of these days.
It's good to evolve the channel and such like that. Somebody was asking us both to take out our boas. The problem with my boa is that Handsome Dan is currently deep in shed, and not happy to be taken out when he's in shed. So I can't do it. I've got other snakes I can take out though.
Yeah, mine's been pretty quiet. I'm gonna reach over and pull Chloe out in a second. Let's see.
Cool.
Tara said I used to have 50 tarantulas. I had one tarantula. I kept a Goliath bird eater for a while, and just absolutely loved that animal. She wasn't huge. She was maybe that big. Bird eaters get like 11 inches in diameter.
Yeah, they get like the size of a dinner plate, right?
Yeah. And but she hated me. Every time she'd see me, if I came in there to do something, to spray her enclosure or something, she'd just turn around and start kicking hairs at me. So I didn't handle her, but and it was so terrible too because I ended up losing her to a bad molt. She had molted so well, and then all of a sudden I went in there one day, she was half molted and didn't make it. So,
Oh, is that common with them? If they have a bad molt, they'll die.
I've heard that it's kind of common with them. I haven't kept a whole lot of them before, but like I said, she was doing really good for the longest time, and then just had that bad molt.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I haven't gotten another one yet.
Keith Harper is making a strong point here. He says the way Kent channels his fear into keeping his hands rock steady is most impressive. You never see any camera shake in Bob's videos. That's the thing. Kent is the best in the business, and that's why I hire my brother. Is you'll never see the camera shake, even though he's terrified while filming. So, best in the biz.
That's awesome. See, I think Jar Jar doesn't particularly care for spiders.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm working on it though. I'm to a point now where if there's a small spider in my house, I leave it be. Because I figure it'll eat the bugs. I'm not terrified if there's a small spider in my house. I used to not be that way. So that's why I can tell I'm getting better.
Yeah. They don't bother me too much. Let me go ahead and put see this is what I mean about this guy, man. He is, and like I said, you'd had to have followed him from the beginning to know what a complete jerk he was.
Yeah. Well, he's a sweetheart now. And man, look how beautiful he is. I just love that pattern. And his coloring, that red on his face, is that normal for that species to be red on their face like that?
Yeah, it's a distinguishing characteristic is that blush behind those big jowl muscles he's got.
Yeah, so cool.
But, I mean, I want to put him back, but he's so damn happy that...
Yeah.
Ain't ya? This is your chance if you really want to get me back and get my nose. Really? Yeah, he's a good
cool.
boy. Let me put him back.
Brian is asking, if you were to go to a reptile show coming up, what would you get? Asking both of us that question. You know, I try not to, for people who watch my channel, they know that when I go to a reptile show, I always am saying that I'm not getting anything. And sometimes I end up being a liar because occasionally I do come home with something, but I'm never really looking for something. Usually never really looking for something when I go. But, the thing is, if there's a really cool animal there that I have room for, and I don't have a lot of room, then I would take it. Oh, here's what I'd be looking for at the next reptile show, and I won't find it. But I need a male pygmy python. I have a female, and I'm not in a big rush because my female's still pretty tiny. Right. But I would like a male pygmy python.
That's going to be a tough find.
Yeah,
I don't know that I've ever seen one at a show.
No, of course. I don't think they'll be at a show for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm actually on a list right now. Justin Julander usually breeds them each year, and I'm on his list. I'd like to get one of his.
Right.
So
that's cool. I know the only thing that I've been looking for, and I don't do many shows, is a legless lizard.
Those are cool. I held one for the first time recently.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't that recently. I was at Clint's reptile room and I held his. I had never held one before.
Right.
Yeah. They're cool.
Yeah. I just like to have that for educational purposes. I had a couple years ago, I'd done a series kind of going over the evolution of snakes and stuff like that and just kind of skirting across the top of all that. Mm-hmm. And, what it is that makes a snake. And, it's not the fact that they don't have legs that makes them a snake type thing. So there's lizards that don't have legs, and they're lizards instead of snakes.
And there's also snakes that do have legs.
Right.
Which all of mine do. Every snake that I have has legs. Mm-hmm. Those are the little hooks, for those who don't know.
Yep.
Those are vestigial
they're
legs.
Really pronounced on my male berm. My male berm's got the biggest ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he could throw his tail in the lake and go fishing with him.
That's interesting. I was one time, I was showing a snake to somebody outside my house one day, and the kid was asking about those hooks. And so, or maybe they were asking about legs. And I mentioned that I can't remember how it started. But anyway, the point is that I turned over the snake to show the hook and it fell off on my hand.
No way.
Which they can't. I mean, it's just keratin, right? It's just like a fingernail, but it just fell off. And I was like, oh, well, here it is. You know, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
I just saw, now I can't find it, but Tevi was asking if Lucy ever got a vinegaroon. And here's the thing. Lucy is terrified of vinegaroons. It's Amy that wants the vinegaroon. These are guest stars on my channel. Right. Amy wants the vinegaroon, but is terrified of spiders. Lucy wants a spider, but is terrified of vinegaroons. And the next Pomona show that's coming up, Amy's going with me, and Lucy might come with me. And if I have both of them at the show, we're going to see if Lucy can get Amy to hold a spider and Amy get Lucy to hold a vinegaroon. We'll see if that can happen.
I'm going to pull up a picture of it for the folks that don't know what they are.
I bet people know what a spider is.
Yeah.
But a vinegaroon, those are harmless bugs that are terrifying looking.
Right. If I can get one of these. Here we go.
Nameless Collector, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the channel.
Where'd we go? Share screen. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
I mean, that looks like it can do so much damage from the front end and the back end.
Right.
But they really don't. They're apparently just harmless little creatures. But they look like terrifying aliens.
They do. They do look like something out of Starship Troopers.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You know what? That's so funny that you mentioned that, because I was watching Starship Troopers the other day. That it was just on and playing, and I was telling a friend of mine I hadn't seen that since it first came out. But when it first came out, I loved it, and I was trying to figure out if it holds up or not. My guess is that it doesn't hold up. We didn't really watch it. It was just on and running as we were chatting.
Right.
But Starship Troopers, man, that was great. When I was younger, that thing came out. What a movie.
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. I don't think we've missed too much.
Here, let's do this. I don't have a snake. I'll pull a snake out. Does anybody that knows my snakes, does anybody have a request? Because most of mine are available now. I had a lot in shed last time I did a live stream.
Right. I'd like to get my Tegu calmed down a little bit. He started to calm down.
Lydia, Lydia can come out. She can come out for a little bit. She's in breeding mode. She's nesting, but I could bring her out. Hang on. So you have a Tegu and that's unfortunate. You have a Tegu and a monitor, huh?
Yep.
That's cool. Those are two really awesome big lizards.
Yeah. Yeah. And oddly enough, too, my male Tegu is maybe 3 feet long. The Nile monitor is twice as long, and I'm 10 times as terrified of the Tegu's mouth.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. There's a distinct difference the way the Tegu's set up, the Nile monitor. The Tegu's, his jowls and his jaws are just so much bigger, even than the Nile monitor being twice as long as he is.
I mean, that's the thing about Tegus, though, right? Is that they're unlikely to bite, but if they do bite, it's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm just realizing Lydia's in deep shed. Not only is she nesting, but she's in shed. So I'm bringing her out because I said I would. She's a lovely mama with screaming ghost faces all along her side.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm not going to keep her out because she doesn't want to hang out here.
Bill says you got to slow down on a scotch so you don't destroy the green room.
You know what? That glass that I just dropped, I just spilled a little tiny bit of, unfortunately, my favorite Irish whiskey.
Oh no!
Which is Green Spot. Fortunately, it was almost gone, so I didn't spill too much, but it definitely was a party foul.
I almost stopped and got a bottle of rum. I rarely drink, but I almost stopped and got a bottle of rum, so you didn't have to drink alone.
Oh, really?
But I got so busy.
Well, you know what's funny is I also rarely drink. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say rarely because I do like a drink of scotch, but I don't drink a lot. I don't drink in large quantities.
Right.
And I'm used to, my live streams are snakes and scotch. So I'm used to when I'm on a live stream drinking scotch. So, or some sort of whiskey. It's usually scotch, but it might be Irish or bourbon or whatever.
Right.
So if I'm doing somebody else's live stream, I usually grab something. But I also I've got my coffee in this.
Yeah, I'm a avid coffee. Matter of fact, I really do honestly believe at this point in my life that if coffee beans ever went extinct, I'd fall over and die within a week.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd make it.
I enjoy a good coffee for sure. I haven't done it for a while, but I roast my own coffee beans as a hobby, which is cool. I have like 6 pounds of green coffee beans in my cupboard ready to roast. It just takes it's a big setup and it takes a lot to do, so I don't do it all the time.
Right.
But it's fun to do.
Oh, cool. You don't have one of those classy coffee presses like Jack Nicholson, huh?
I don't know what he has.
The man, what's the name of that movie with him and Morgan Freeman? The Bucket List.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that movie. What's he have? Like you're talking about a way to make coffee?
Yeah,
like
when he goes into the coffee, he's got that really fancy coffee press, and he's it's the Kopi Luwak coffee, and he doesn't know what it is, and he goes through the whole show, and he's bragging about his coffee, and then finally Morgan Freeman tells him what it is.
That's the stuff that they take out of the poop of the serval.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be great coffee.
Must be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Xander was asking if Lilith is doing good. She should be doing good. Let me go check, make sure. As long as she's not in shed. She's been pretty quiet. She's probably my most unique animal, and she's my biggest problem snake, I guess, if you call it that.
I'm going to answer a couple. Keith is asking, how is B. Arthur Dent? Keith, B is doing okay, but I brought her out. You'll see in a video that's coming out pretty soon that I used her to demonstrate what a much too skinny snake looks like. And it's because since she finally took a meal on her own, I've been reluctant to assist feed her. But now she's getting skinny to the point where I've got to go back on like every 5 days. She needs a hopper mouse. So other than that, she's fine. She's just too skinny and very small, which is frustrating and unfortunate. Big Gator Caesar is saying, Bob, great hat. Thanks. I like this hat. It's one of my very favorites. I would love to take this hat with me when I go herping, but it's too hot because it's felt. So I can't. Yeah. I've been herping the last 2 weekends. Oh, look at that. Look at that carpet python. That's beautiful.
Yeah. This
who's that?
Actually, this came from a lady who is a bit of an eclectic collector, collect a bunch of unusual stuff, and she had taken ill. And a friend of a friend is the one that was like in her will to take care of her animals when she went.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't passed that I know of, but she decided it was time to rehome them. So this is actually a Jaguar carpet green tree python hybrid, Jagpondro.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
interesting.
Yeah.
And big too. That's a very large snake for being part.
Yeah, that's the part that struck me about it. I mean, I trust the folks that took responsibility for her and passed her along to me. But I was like, man, green tree python, that's she's got the carpet size, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But
wow,
the
what
thing
a beautiful snake.
Yeah, she's gorgeous, but you'll notice you probably already picked up on the Jag gene issues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because she's got God, she's got the best demeanor, best person. Let's see if I can get a close up of her face here, because she's got a gorgeous face. But she's also got some muscle tone issues and
Super wobbly, right?
yeah. Come on, there you go. Get up there close. There you go.
So pretty. Tara is asking me to get Jenny Craig out, and she's an easy one because she's
Jenny
right.
Craig. Love it.
Yeah, this is Jenny Craig. She so I'll tell you the story, Tim, because I'm sure there's plenty of people who don't know this story, unless they've seen my few videos on it.
Right.
This is Jenny Craig. She's just a banana pied. She's a sweet snake. But I had somebody, you know, I'm sure you get this a lot too. People message me all the time saying, "Hey, I've got to get rid of my snake. Will you take it?" And I always say no to that. But this guy had a banana pied. He said it was a banana mahogany pied, but I'm almost positive it's not.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, I mean, I have a banana pied project and I could use a female. I'll take that snake. So he sent her to, now he said that he had the snake for 6 months. I think she was 9 months at the time that I got her. He had her for 6 months. And so he sent her to me. And I opened the box and I was like, oh, this snake's got to be older. This is a big snake. And then I realized, well, wait a second. It's also overweight. Like it's got these fat rolls. It's very fat, especially like, you know how hard it is to make a young snake fat. That because usually they just grow. So they've got to grow the maximum that they can grow, and then they're getting even fatter. So I was kind of thinking, wow, this is weird. But I messaged the guy to tell him that I got the snake. And that's all I said. I was like, hey, I got her. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. She looks like she did well. And he goes, oh, yeah, no problem. Make sure that you feed her because she eats every other day and she hasn't eaten in a couple days. And I went, what?
No way.
Like, so he told, let me see if I can remember this right. He was feeding her. I can't remember what he started off feeding her, but it was too much anyway. And then he said she just kept looking hungry. So I feed her a small rat every 2 days. And I was like, all right, that's how we ended up with a young snake that's clearly overweight. So I put her on a diet and named her Jenny Craig. What I did is I cut her to a feeding every 2 weeks.
Right.
And she was big enough to take a small rat. But what I would do is I would feed her a weaned rat. And then 2 weeks later, I'd feed her a chick. And then 2 weeks later, a weaned rat, and then a chick. And I did that for a number of months. And eventually, you know, it's tough to get a snake to lose weight. But fortunately, because she was still growing pretty good, you know, she's only 9 months old. So she's in a length growing scenario that, you know, after, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months, she was pretty good body condition.
Oh, that's cool.
And back to pretty good health.
Nice. Yeah, I've got, you know, people talk about, you know, the retics being voracious eaters like that, but mine will, all of mine at one point or another will refuse from, you know, time to time, stuff like that. Like my bigger ones, I'll never feed them more frequently than every 2 weeks. And typically it's, yeah, they tend to eat bigger meals anyway. So I typically feed my bigger retics about once a month.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're giving them a big meal. Once a month is good, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes longer too, man. My male, I got a 16-foot male reticulated python, which is unusual. That's the biggest male I've ever seen. But I know he was a male because I've checked. But yeah, man, I mean, he'll go months.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because if you think about it, you know, if he was in the wild, he'd be eating a few meals a year, a small handful of meals a year. Probably. I mean, maybe he'll get a small something occasionally, but as far as big things,
right?
You know, not that much. What about that one? Does the Jag gene does it affect their strike ability? Like, is she able to strike accurately? Or I forget which.
She has struck and hit before, you know, with me putting it right in front of her face. A lot of times here recently, she's been really reclusive, and I've got a drop feeder. So, a lot of times she'll just look at it and kind of ignore me. So I'll lay it right in the middle of her coil and come back and it's gone.
Cool. That's great. If they'll take a drop feed,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yeah. I've never had to pull a refusal from her. So but,
that's great.
Yeah, I feel so bad for her because then you could probably see like the whole back half of her body as soon as her tail starts to come from around my neck. When she starts trying to go forward, you'll see she doesn't really have any muscle tone, which is weird because my other carpet python, that's another one I got. So I got a regular, normal jungle carpet python downstairs, but like her back just flops.
Really?
Yeah.
So the front of her body has the muscle tone, just not much control of her neck.
Yeah.
And then not much on her back, huh?
Yeah. So the jag gene really did a number on her. Like you can see as she starts, and she's actually hanging on a little bit better tonight than she normally does. But I mean, you can see.
Do they suspect that that's they fairly recently figured out that in ball pythons the spider gene doesn't cause a neurological problem. It's a equilibrium problem caused by a deformation in the skull.
Right.
Is that what they suspect for the jag gene?
Or
maybe they haven't looked at it.
I don't know. Just from her behavior, like I said, the muscle tone thing makes me think it's a neurological. If it was just her kind of cruising around and being a little dopey and stuff like that, then I could see it being an equilibrium, kind of like the inner ear issue with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's one of the symptoms of neurological issues in humans too, is lack of muscle control and stuff like that. So,
that makes sense then.
Yeah. And I've actually just met here recently another biologist that I'll have on at some point here in the next couple of weeks. He contacted me about coming on. A really bright guy, and so that's some stuff I'd like to start digging into this summer. Really finding out more about this jag gene, exactly what it does.
Yeah, they may not know though. There's always so much speculation within the hobby, and then the actual science community hasn't looked into it because it's just breeders breeding snakes in the hobby. It's not something that they deal with in the wild, really. So it's not,
Yeah. So it's hard to find studies on a lot of that stuff to get really good information,
Yeah, for sure.
All we've got to go on is the breeders saying, well, I bred this one like this and it was fine.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay.
Here, I'll get my little pygmy python out since she's right here and easy to grab. Except her hook is not around.
Oh my God.
I don't use a hook because I'm afraid of her biting. She would never bite and it wouldn't be a problem anyway. I use a hook because she's so tiny that I can't pick her up with my fingers without squeezing her. So I use this little hook to get her.
Come on. Well, come on. Come on. You're cruising around all upside down and stuff.
So here, folks, is maybe she might be 10 months old at this point, 9 or 10 month old pygmy python.
Oh man.
She is, I just weighed her because I was curious. She is 17 grams.
Oh, wow.
She eats well. She's super smart. She's very well target trained. And I tried to hide reptilinks. I have these little micro reptilinks made of iguana that I feed her along with mice and stuff. I tried to hide reptilinks in her cage the other day and let her find them, and she did find them because she was interested, but she wouldn't eat them. So, and she always eats her reptilinks. And so what I realized is it might be because I'm not offering them to her on tongs.
Yeah.
And I never move them around. I don't pretend like they're alive or anything like that. I just hand them to her on tongs. But it's usually target training. She sees her target, and then the tongs hand her the meal. And this was the first time that I was just dropping it in there, and it confused her. So all I did was pick the thing up with tongs, and she went right for it.
Oh wow.
So she needed to be fed the way she normally eats.
Right. Such a cool little snake. She's about the size of my milk snake back there now.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah, she came to me at 6 months old, and at 6 months old she was 9 grams.
Oh wow.
So just super tiny. But she's gained, I mean, now she's 17 grams, so she's gained a lot of size
Right.
since I've had her.
Yeah, see, those small snakes always made me so nervous when I first got them after working with the big snakes for so long. It just,
Yeah,
it's like when somebody hands you a baby human.
Exactly.
Like, oh God, I'm going to kill this thing.
Exactly. They're definitely a different, it's a whole different experience. You know, I usually like a snake that I can put around my neck and hang on to. I have a lot of ball pythons, but really I like snakes that are even bigger than that,
Right.
But a small snake like this, Nicole's asking what a pygmy's max size is. And that's what I was about to say anyway, is she probably won't get 2 feet long. She'll probably be 19, 20 inches, something like that. So she's never going to be a snake that hangs out with me like your berm is hanging out with you right now.
Right.
But fascinating little intelligent creature that is totally confident. She acts like she's a big snake. She doesn't know she's tiny. And she's never shown any fear or defensiveness.
Really?
Yeah, just a really cool little snake.
That is really cool. She does look like she's just perfectly content to hang out and do whatever.
Yeah. I wanted to get a member of the Antaresia, and it's easy to find a spotted python or a children's python, but I figured if I'm going to get a small snake, I want the smallest. So I spent some time looking for a pygmy, and she does not disappoint. She's very cool.
That's awesome. No, excuse me. Xander was asking if you have any videos on target training the smaller snakes.
No, I mean, the technique is the exact same. Pip picked up target training super fast, and she got it. Her target, I'm going to do you're seeing target. It's a little tiny green ball. And when she sees this, she knows exactly what to do. She beelines right over to the target, touches it with her nose, and then she gets her food. She's very good at it.
That's awesome.
But she kind of had a head start because she's curious about everything. So anything I would put in that enclosure, she would come over and tongue flick on to see what it was. She's not afraid of anything. So she started off doing that with the target. And now that I can tell with the behavior that it's not just, oh, I'm curious about this thing, let me go tongue flick on it. It's she sees that target and she's on it immediately.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can tell that's a smart little snake too, man. There's no stress. She's just perfectly content.
Yeah, she is. It's crazy to me because like how many brain cells can fit in that little tiny head,
Right.
She's pretty amazing. I got her when I first got her, I ordered a display case because I free roam my snakes and I have usually for smaller snakes, I just put them in a playpen with a bunch of stuff and let them cruise around and have an experience with things that they're not used to, so they can see that things that might be a little scary for them are not harmful. But I knew that even the playpen is too big for her to cruise around. So I bought a display case off Amazon, and it's her little play area is like a display case that you would put a football in or whatever.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, I show it in my live streams. I usually have a camera on the display case, and we try to get Pip to cruise around. The last couple times I've done it, though, she hasn't really done much in there.
Right.
Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't.
Right.
Southern Sam is asking what color target. I have green ones and blue ones. Snakes can't see red, so greens and blues they can see, but I don't think it matters. I think the shape is more the thing for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Caesar was asking. Said his African rock has twice laid a clutch of eggs in her lifetime. This without ever being a parthenogenesis. What's it called? Laying slug eggs.
It's kind of like when a bird does it. It's just that snakes do it way less often. It's not super common. Although I don't know if maybe the species, maybe for African rock pythons, it's more common. I don't know. I haven't heard that before. But that's actually not. So if it's a clutch of slug eggs, that wouldn't be parthenogenesis.
Right.
She's just laying infertile eggs.
Well, no, he was saying, let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. I thought I misunderstood what he was saying. I thought he was saying that that his first clutch was partho, and then this one slugged out.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not sure based on the way he's written this. I'm not sure if he's saying that it's a clutch of slug eggs,
right,
or infertile eggs, or if it's partho. So both of those scenarios, it's two separate scenarios, and they're both kind of uncommon. But it's more common for a snake to lay a clutch of infertile eggs.
Right.
They just develop some follicles, they turn them into infertile eggs, and they lay them.
Right.
It's less common for those eggs to be good, and that's parthenogenesis.
Right.
But it happens.
I think I had partho on the brain because I've been hearing about that from a couple different people in the community talking about. There's been a couple people getting some partho clutches lately.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. I seen something about. Oh, Eric was asking, what is it with the jag gene? Yeah, my understanding is it's similar in retics as it is with carpets.
Yep. And the spider gene in ball pythons, it's a very similar thing.
Right.
Nicole's asking about tiny eggs from tiny snakes. I saw a video when I first got Pip. There's a breeder that breeds pygmy pythons, and there's a video where he's holding in the palm of his hand, he's holding his female on her clutch of eggs, and it all fits in the palm of his hand.
That's awesome.
Cutest thing ever. One of the cutest things you'll see. It's pretty great.
Man, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. I'm going to have to look around and see if I can find a picture. Every time I think egg pulling, I keep thinking, help me lift this snake.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not sure what he was referring to there.
Ben is asking how the ball python breeding season is going. It's going okay. I'm pairing up a few snakes. I've got one clutch in the incubator, and I'm not really aggressively breeding right now. Like, I have a plan, and I've got some snakes that I thought were going to go, and then they didn't, which makes me think that they may have reabsorbed, but I'm still pairing them anyway. And I've been out of town so much that, most breeders pay very close attention. They've got a what do you call it, where you can check follicles?
Ultrasound.
Thank you. I'm losing words. They got an ultrasound, or they're palpating regularly. They notice the ovulation.
Right.
I do palpate occasionally, but I'm missing ovulations because I'm out of town a lot. So, and I don't use an ultrasound. So the eggs are surprise. This last clutch was a surprise, and I'm not really sure where everybody else is. But I've got like 4 other females that I'm breeding this year. Not a lot.
Right. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to start breeding. I, of course, got to get moved first. I'm not going to try and squeeze any incubators in here or anything like that. But I think what I really want to focus on is conservation breeding.
That would be really cool. I'd love to do that. I'd love to get, a pair of snakes that need to be bred because of conservation and
right. Yeah. I mean, as soon as I learned about the snakes, that's what I was looking for. No, I was looking for Caesar's reply there. She was talking about the slugs. I guess he wasn't familiar and had not heard of Afrox slugging out like that. So,
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, ever since I learned about the crested geckos and how close they were to extinction and how common they are now, it just really motivates me to try and find a species that's really in need of.
Yeah, that needs to be bred for conservation. That would be really cool. Southern Stam is asking about Pip, and yes, she is a pygmy python, part of the Antaresia complex. So she's related to children's pythons, spotted pythons, Stimsons, but she is the smallest python species in the world. Pygmy python. Also known as an anthill python, by the way, as Scabby Knack is saying.
Oh, cool.
That is true. A lot of people call them anthill pythons.
Tarantulas keep coming back up. I'm not going to breed tarantulas. They are entirely too small for me. And this girl is just intent on rolling around all over the place tonight. And I'm really surprised Chloe's over there racked out. Normally, she's running the glass on me. That poor girl.
I'm just going through the comments. This is nice being on your live stream because I can take the silent moments and actually go through some of the comments.
I know,
because
right?
I don't see any of the comments really, except for if somebody super chats on my live streams, I'll see that.
Right.
And sometimes I miss those, but I have a backup. I've got a producer who will alert me if I miss one, but I never see until the next day. I'll go through and watch the live stream again and read all the comments, but then you can't respond to them,
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that keeps me going because I don't typically have guests on because I'm not normally hounding people saying, hey, man, come on the channel and all that stuff. Although I love having the conversations with folks. So often I just come on and just kind of wing it myself.
Yeah.
And everybody, the questions keep coming in, the conversations keep going, and they keep us moving.
Yeah.
So, Carla was asking.
One soft kiss is asking if I maternally incubate any of them. Yeah, I've done it once, and I'll do it again. My girl Freya maternally incubated last season, and I decided to do that because normally you don't have them maternally incubate because if you want to get them up to size to breed again the next year, that is a lot of eating time or feeding time out of their schedule if they maternally incubate. But I had planned on giving her the year off anyway. I don't think any snakes that I want to breed every single year. I'd like to give them a year off. So anyway, I let Freya maternally incubate last season, and she's taken this season off. And it was so cool to have her sitting on those eggs for a couple months and then seeing the babies pipping out of the eggs underneath her. And here was the other really interesting thing that I noticed about this. And again, this is the only time I've maternally incubated. I've only seen it once, but what I observed in this is that, I think I mentioned this on the live stream last time, or maybe the time before, is that on my own live stream, is that, we have this idea that when the snakes pip out of the eggs and leave, the mother, pythons anyway, the mothers are like, all right, I'm out of here. My job is done. But Freya, if I went in there to check on the babies that were out of the eggs at that point, Freya would go into her cold side hide and stick her head out and watch what I was doing. And as soon as I took my hands away, she'd come right back and wrap around those babies. So I
Oh,
think
nice.
there is a maternal instinct for at least maybe a week or so, maybe until those babies shed. I don't know what happens in the wild, but it was really interesting that she was definitely focused on them even when she was away, and then was right back on them when the coast was clear.
That's
It's pretty
cool.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see the clutch that Abby got? The curly haired keeper?
No, Is that
Yeah.
wait, is that of her retics?
Yeah.
She was showing some baby retics, and that looked like a clutch
Yeah.
of hers.
Yeah, she had her she had one of her dwarfs maternally incubate, and they all hatched out right there in the enclosure.
Oh, I'll have to look for that. That's so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
She's great. I'm a big fan of hers. She's cool.
Yeah, she's really cool. I think this year again too. Last year, I got up to PA on a Friday, and stopped straight away at Abby's place because she was having like a cookout and get together before Retic Fest. I think she's doing it again this year too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so we just sit around, and she's got some really amazing enclosures. She's got some great snakes over there.
I didn't know that she lived in that area.
Yeah, yeah, she's right down the road.
I think I just got my flight. I think I get in pretty late. I think I fly in at like 7:30 p.m., which means I'm out of the airport with a rental car, maybe an hour later, whatever it takes.
Right.
You know? So I think I'm pretty late that day.
Yeah. Well, last year we was up pretty late.
Really?
We all stayed for it was 10, 11, 12 o'clock, something like that.
Well, keep me posted on that, because I'm totally down with heading over to her place if she's doing a thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna see. I'm looking real quick to see if I can't find some pics of her baby.
Colleen is asking what a vine snake is, and I've had experience with wild vine snakes in the Amazon. They are a very long, skinny snake that look like a vine. And in the Amazon, they're rear-fanged venomous, but pretty harmless to humans. I've been bit by several of them that we've caught, just so that I can talk about them on camera and release them. But there are vine snakes that look exactly the same. They also have the pointy nose. You've probably seen them. They have really pointy front nose, which is weird. There's also vine snakes in Africa that are unrelated but look exactly the same through convergent evolution, and those are deadly. So you don't want to touch those. You can handle the ones in the Amazon jungle. You cannot handle the ones in Africa because they will kill you fast.
Yeah, see, I haven't done any herping abroad or anything. I mean, I've done things abroad in the military, but it wasn't anything to do with reptiles. So
yeah,
I have a lot to learn before I went out and started just playing in the woods someplace.
Well, the nice thing is to have that when you go, I mean, these last couple trips that I've taken to the Amazon jungle are the only herping planning more. So incredible. But you definitely do the research to figure out what's there. And it's smart to have a guide, somebody that knows what you're looking at and, what's out there.
Right.
And how to find them,
Yeah, I'm looking through Abby's page real quick to see. I know she posted a video at one point of Mama in there with all of her babies.
Luge Garden State says, nice beard, Bob. Thanks. Appreciate that. I've had it for a while.
I couldn't grow a beard if I wanted to.
I bet you could. All you got to do is stop shaving and wait for a long time.
It's taken a really long time. I've tried facial hair. I can't grow anything right here at all. I mean, I can get this scraggly, homeless-looking goatee, but that's it.
But nothing on the cheeks at all?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
No, I'm like a friggin' hairless cat, man.
I kind of want to see it though, Tim. I feel like I feel like you should give it 4 months. I just want to see what a 4-month beard would look like on you. It might be cool.
I do look really homeless, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I mean, this takes a lot of work. There's a lot of upkeep and beard oils and certain ways to do it so that I don't look homeless. Otherwise, it'll poof out like this, and
Well, I mean, if you can grow a big, grizzly beard, I mean, that's kind of the thing anymore. Just
yeah.
Like I said, if I do it, it just looks like
And I think a lot of people have jobs where they can't. You know, there's a lot of people that would love to grow a beard, but they can't because of their job or whatever.
Right.
Um,
Well, I mean, that was
fortunately,
like,
I'm basically unemployable other than what I currently do for a living. So, you know.
Where is the rest of you at, Snake? What are you doing? Oh. Yeah, see, she's got all of her stuff on Instagram instead of Facebook. And Facebook is where you can find the bigger pictures. So I don't even know if anybody would really be able to see.
Well, Tara is asking, how far away are you from breeding black-headed pythons? How long until your male grows up? Let me show you my male, and I'll answer that question because that's a good snake to get out. He's probably around somewhere. The problem is I have so many hides in his cage, and I never know where he is because he's always using a different hide.
Nice.
Hang on. Be right back.
All right. I'm going to put this girl back, too, because she just wants to be all over the place.
I chose the wrong door. He's going to be on the other side.
Let's see. Who's that?
Oh my gosh. He's not in the hide. He's in the paper towel roll. There he is. I would not have guessed this. I would not have guessed it, but
that's awesome.
Here he is. Oh, and he's doing what? He's taking up most of it.
Yeah, he is.
See if I can get him out of here.
I mean, that's a pretty good idea to use for a hide for him.
Snakes love paper towel rolls.
Yeah, I try to avoid putting anything that they can get into because in case you've got to get them out in a hurry or something, but paper towel rolls would be perfect.
Yeah, I use toilet paper rolls for babies. I use paper towel rolls for, snakes that aren't too thick for,
right.
So, this back. So here's Banjo. He's my juvenile male black-headed python. And he's pretty awesome. I have, so Banjo is, what is he? He's less than a year old. And I have a 3-year-old female. So the female is darn close to ready to breed. But we're not going to breed her until Banjo is close to her size. And she is, she's 6 feet long and thick. She's a big girl. I mean, she's big compared to him, at least.
Right.
And these are snake eaters. So there's a chance that if I put Banjo in too early, if he was considerably smaller than her, that she could try to eat him. It doesn't happen very often. Mm-hmm. Even though when everybody talks about black-headed python breeding, they always say, oh man, they could eat each other. They usually don't. It's pretty rare. But you still want the male to be, close to the same size as the female.
Right.
So to answer Tara's question, we're probably at least a couple years away from pairing these two.
Right.
I'm not in any big hurry to breed them. I just like having black-headed pythons. They're an amazing species of python that is super unique. Yeah. And I just came out with a video about this where I talk about this in a black-headed python care guide, but they are so unique to all the other species of python in the world. Blackheads and womas, they're very similar to one another, but as a genus, super unique.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good looking animal too.
Yeah, he's beautiful. I love this dark back that he has. And that's why I got him. He's got this dark, a lot of them are super light, and that's a cool look too. My female has an even darker back. And so I want that. I want that in the babies. So yeah, he's cool. And he's got a great personality,
That's cool.
He's just an awesome guy.
Yeah, he is. And sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hey, Greg is with us. How you doing, buddy? Greg's been doing, matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Greg has been working Renaissance Festival this weekend as well.
Oh, yeah?
I think he's been taking and doing a snake educational publicity thing out there.
Mm. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg's a good guy. I met him at the last Retic Fest. He's from Utah. He goes out to Clint's place from time to time as well.
Cool. I was just in Utah last weekend.
Nice.
That's cool. Hi, Greg. Nicole is saying, are vine snakes the ones that look like they're judging all your life choices? Yes, that is absolutely what a vine snake is.
Oh, yeah. They are the most condescending reptile on the planet.
They are. Tim, can you pull up a photo of one?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to pull one up real quick.
So I was just in southern Utah herping last weekend. I got real lucky. The weekend before, I took a group of my Patreon supporters to Joshua Tree National Park, and we spent the weekend herping.
Right.
And it was so fun. We stayed in an Airbnb. It was amazing. And then last weekend, I went over to my friend Amy's house, and Amy lives in southern Utah.
Right.
And that, Joshua Tree National Park is one of the most beautiful deserts in the world. And so is southern Utah, but they're totally different. Southern Utah is the big red rocks.
Right.
Whereas Joshua Tree is big, like giant boulders that people are rock climbing, and Joshua trees everywhere.
Right.
It's incredible. It's so fun.
That's cool.
Friendly neighborhood black guy. I am not on Morph Market. Yes, there's a vine snake right there. Totally judging you. That is what their little faces look like.
Yep.
So I'm not on Morph Market. Anytime I have a clutch, my snakes go to Patreon supporters. So I sell any snakes. I don't produce a lot. I do a small handful of clutches every year. And I seem to always have Patreon supporters that want to buy the snakes. So that is how I do it. We start a waiting list on Patreon as soon as snakes start hatching out of eggs. As soon as I have a clutch pipping, waiting list gets started.
Yeah, and speaking of Patreon, for you guys that are new or newer or don't know yet, we do have a Patreon here. I've always got the link down in the description to all of the videos. And we typically do after every live. We're not going to do it tonight because we're probably going to be on here talking for a hot minute. But typically after the live streams, we'll do a Zoom meetup for all the paid Patreon members. So
that's a cool idea to do.
Yeah, sometimes it's only a couple of us, sometimes a few of us. But I mean, it's a good opportunity for everybody to get on and kind of show off their animals. And
yeah, I do that. I do it sporadically. So it's as soon as somebody on Patreon goes, hey, we should have another Zoom party. I go, oh, yeah, let's schedule one. So it might be every couple months or something. But it is that. It's everybody jumps on and they can show their animals. They can talk. They don't have to participate. It's a really cool thing to do. So you're doing it every week, though, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, barring, like I said, I mean, special instances like this where we've got a guest on and we don't want to be pressed for time or anything like that, then I'll go in. But I mean, typically, if it's just me kind of bumping my gums, I'll cut myself up, which is weird because starting at 7, and then we'd start our Zoom calls at 8:30. I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, it takes about 15 to 30 minutes before I really get in a groove. That first little bit, you're like, okay. You're kind of getting into the groove and you're kind of trying to think of things to say. Then after about a half hour, that's when everything kind of starts to roll. And about the time I start rolling is about the time to cut off now and go to the Zoom call. So
yeah. Yeah. That's great.
But, my thing is I can't always put out, because of my schedule being the way it is, I can't always put out a weekly video. So I was like, well, I'm going to do something every week so that, we can at least, everybody knows that if nothing else, if I don't put out any videos that week, at least we're having a live stream on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got the Patreon folks out there. So,
yeah, that's cool. Brian is asking he's saying, I can't remember what kind of beard oil you use, but I would really like to know. The beard oil is called Luxurious Bastard. And there's a discount code for it, which is, I think the discount code for that beard oil is GRP, like Green Room Pythons. You can get a discount. on Luxurious Bastard beard oil. It was I've tried so many beard oils and I like most of them. I love trying different ones, whatever. But Luxurious Bastard was my favorite because of the scents that they use. And I became friends with the guy who owns the company, and he's gave me a discount code for people that want to buy it. So
Cool.
that's what it is.
Let's see. Nicole was asking if they were nippy. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like you've got very many.
Yeah, so he's not, well, so defensively they're not nippy at all. Even in the wild, if they're defensive with you, it's a bluff strike usually. They almost never bite defensively.
Right.
But as they get older, and I expect Banjo to do this when he gets older, they get super food motivated. And
Right.
so I've been bit by Maya, my female, a number of times because she gets confused about food, but she's never been defensive. So
Right.
I've just had to do some training with her and then just kind of learn her body language.
Right.
You know,
They don't look as expressive as a retic. It looks like
They're
it's
not.
a little bit. It looks like it's a
they're
little bit
not.
harder.
They're not as interactive as a retic, but they are very because they're so docile. They're kind of like, I mean, I'm just holding him and he's like, yeah, whatever. I'll just hang out with you, or I'll move somewhere, or whatever, you know, kind of whatever you want to do with them.
Right.
But I free roam Maya when all my other snakes are in their cages because they're reptile eaters, but I'll free roam her. And in the wild, they hunt. They're active hunters. They're not ambush hunters. So they're on the move. They go up to a mile a day looking for reptiles to eat. And they find them too. They're eating like every day, every other day, they're getting a meal. So they eat a lot more often, prey items that are less fat, less protein. So it's not like they're eating a mouse or a rat every day, but a bearded dragon, maybe a blue-tongued skink, another snake, venomous snakes. They're immune to the venom of the venomous snakes in the outback. What was my point? Oh, my point is that Maya will be cruising all over the place, and she'll join me on the couch and try to figure out if I'm food or not. But if I get her out of food mode, I can just hang on to her and she'll just chill with me on the couch for a little bit before she moves on.
That's awesome.
You know, and I let her move on. I don't, you know, like with Banjo, I'm going hand over hand like you do with any other snake. But with Maya, she's big enough that she can free roam, and I usually just let her go whenever she wants to go. But she also has no problem just hanging out with me, you know. So they're pretty cool. I like them a lot.
Let's see. What was that? Oh, Tara had a remark she wanted to make about how much she loves watching green room pythons, how much she likes watching you grow, and the care guides and the posts are fantastic.
Oh, that's so nice, Tara. Thank you. Tara's one of my favorites. She's been around for a long time. Tara has one of my snakes.
Nice.
She bought from me. And
I've probably seen it because she's on our Patreon. So she's in, she makes it to almost all of our Zoom calls.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has a very nice, we've hung out. Okay. So that's that one. Let's see.
There we go. Yeah. That one wasn't Greg. It was Betty on. And yeah, I guess they've done the run fair for 2 weekends in a row.
Oh, cool. I'm getting ready to do Oregon 3 weeks in a row in Oregon. What I'm gonna do is drive up and then leave my car there and fly back. I usually try and stay up there for at least a week, but this time I'm gonna fly back twice. So I'll fly home Monday through Friday, and then after the third weekend of festival, I'll drive back. Somebody was asking, Nameless Collector is asking how big they get. Black-headed pythons can get big. They can get 10 feet, you know. I'm guessing, I'll show you Maya. I'll pull Maya out in a little bit.
Cool.
Banjo is a western locality. They stay a little bit smaller. I'm guessing he'll be 7 or 8 feet. And Maya will probably be 8 or 9 feet, you know. I don't overfeed them. That's the other thing is people have 10-foot black-headed pythons because they pack them with food. And that's a problem with any snake, but there's a weird thing with black-headed pythons that's different because they're reptile eaters. If you're just slamming them with giant rats all the time, they're going to get way huge and overweight because their bodies just aren't meant to handle that. So I feed them a lot of birds and a lot of iguana reptilinks, as well as the occasional rat or mouse. But they're definitely not getting rodents every feeding. So
see, I've tried to reptilinks with my hog nose. I've got some frog reptilinks in there, and I just can't get him taking them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I use them. I use reptilinks for my not always, just as I pepper them in with their regular feedings, but the black-headed pythons, my pygmy python, and my boa will reluctantly take them, but it's a pain to get him to take them, so I don't even bother with it anymore because it takes so long to get him to take it. But they're pretty interesting. Yeah, that's a huge one. That's a giant black-headed python. That's is that? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. I just done a Google search just to kind of give them a quick idea of how big they can get.
Yeah, and really, I mean, that's for a locality, especially if that's like I think the Easterns get bigger. That could be a normal size for an older adult,
Right.
But here, I'll pull Maya out. It'll take me a minute. Let me put Banjo back. You know what I might do?
And I'm really starting to dig just jumping on Google all the time, throwing pictures out. I think it makes it so much easier. Picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah, it does.
Let's see.
You know what I'm going to do? Well, since I'm getting Maya out anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Echo away. So this is just going to take me a minute of wrangling snakes.
Oh, you're
Echo
good.
right now, you can't see her, but right now she's in food mode. And she's in a hide.
Yeah.
And the hide has a plant on it. Tim, put me on full screen. See if they can see it. See if it'll.
Okay.
I still don't know. Okay, so she's
cool.
in this hide right here that's under that plant. So I got to pick the plant up. I got to deal with her. It's going to take me a minute. All right, take me off full screen.
You're fine.
That's what's happening. Oh,
you're fine. No rush. Yeah, Caesar was asking if we have any monitor lizards or crocodilians. I do not have crocodilians. I do have a monitor lizard. And we've probably got, as a matter of fact, I'm guessing there's probably some folks here that are your followers that are new to this channel.
Could
so
be,
I guess it probably wouldn't hurt for me to maybe pull up a picture of some of my main animals that I work with.
Yeah, do it.
For those of you guys that don't know, for those of you folks that are new to Intrepid Exotics, kind of what we focus on here is I've got a ton of experience working with really large constrictors, a large number of large constrictors. I really focused heavily on handling, socialization, reading behaviors, things of that nature, and do similarly with monitor lizards and stuff. So that's kind of what a lot of our stuff revolves around. It's just kind of like reading behaviors and working with your animals. So we do a lot of educational stuff along those lines. So let me see if I can find a couple of pictures of my babies here. There we go. Where is my lizard folder? It is. Yeah. I've got a Nile monitor. It's 6 foot long now. Who is always going out and taking walks with me. This is a good picture. Let's see if I can blow this up. Get over here. Share screen. That's not it. Where is? All right, work with me. Window. There we go. I get this figured out sooner or later. So yeah, that's my monitor lizard. and he's I've had him ever since he was a baby. He has been.
Oh, he's so cool. How big is he?
He's 6 foot, tip to tail.
Oh my gosh.
And
Cool.
man, you talk about a challenging animal to work with. See, here's another picture of him. Come on, I need to get quicker at this. Yeah, we go outside for walks pretty frequently here in the summertime.
So cool.
Get him outside and let him run around and stuff. But we've had our ups and downs. He's really temperamental about enclosures and things like that. So if his habitat changes, if I upgrade his enclosure, he goes off food for a month. He wants to kill me.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Last time I changed his enclosure, I went in to pick him up and he bit me in the back of the neck and just held on for like 2-3 minutes.
Wow. My answer to that question, though, is no. I don't have crocodilians, which are illegal in California. And I don't have a monitor, although a Bell's phase lace monitor is one of my dream animals to have.
Those are gorgeous.
I currently only have snakes.
Yeah.
So this is Maya. She is 3 years old, not full grown yet, but getting to the size where she could potentially breed.
Right.
I will not breed her for at least 2 years though, because we need the male to get up to size. But if you notice, like she has more of a black back. They call this ladder back, where it's black with the dots along the side. That's usually black-headed pythons are more this light color all the way over their back, and they have just black stripes. So that's the look that we're going for when I breed them.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous snake too. And of course, when they get bigger, all that stuff's easier to see. It's more pronounced. So.
Yeah. She is really cool. She's more like a colubrid than a python.
Right.
And they're just very different. They don't have heat pits. Their heads look like they were dipped in ink, and they just look like little missiles because they've got these shovel heads. They dig their own burrows, which is a weird thing that they're rather than using a rodent's burrow, they're digging their own burrow with their face.
Right.
Which is probably why they don't have heat pits, because they'd be clogging them all the time. Yeah. They're really cool. I like them a lot.
It's awesome. Yeah, Chloe over here, I had to completely redo her enclosure because she started burrowing like that. She's a retic, and the last few days before she would shed, her face was just packed with friggin' dirt. And I'd go in and I'd soak her for a good hour, 2 hours, something, throw her back in there, turn around and go right back in the dirt. And I was like, okay, you're losing all the dirt. We're getting it all out of there.
That's cool. But that's the thing with, if they burrow, that's why I like Cocoa Husk, because for a snake that burrows, they can burrow without getting it all in their heat pits.
Right. So Sam was asking about stargazing and is it treatable? Stargazing is a symptom. It's not an illness.
Right.
So stargazing is something that a lot of things can cause them to do. If they're having difficulty breathing, sometimes you'll see them picking their head up. Sometimes neuro stuff. I'm sure there's a couple other reasons for it, but yeah, I think my general rule of thumb when I talk with folks, when they ask me about different ailments and stuff, is I look for either, multiple symptoms. It's like people, just like with a retic, somebody will say, man, my retic started sneezing a little bit. And it's like, well, what's probably going on is they're probably getting ready to shed and they're blowing them scales, starting to separate scales away from their nose. So I like, if they're sneezing and they're gaping, or if they're sneezing and they're drooling and bubbles and stuff, well, then you've got a respiratory problem.
Yeah.
Or if you can hear them doing stuff like that. But
but noticing multiple symptoms is important.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So one thing in and of itself, typically I don't stress too much. So yeah, I start to pay attention to it. Of course, if I see a snake that's I'm looking for them to start shedding here in the next couple of days. If they're not, then of course we're paying really close attention to them.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
Erica is saying Horde of Herpers. That's the people that go herping with me are official members of the Horde of Herpers. And Erica was with me 2 weekends ago herping.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
That was fun.
Let's see. Brian said he was waiting for Handsome Dan to get a female.
Oh yeah, I don't know, Brian. Right now, I'm not planning to breed boas. However, that could change. They're just. I have very limited space in the green room here, and a female boa, even if it was central locality, is going to take up quite a bit of room. And I already have some snakes that take up quite a bit of room. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, Handsome Dan is young. I could breed him in the future, but not anytime soon, I don't think.
Right.
He's pretty handsome, though. He'd make cool babies.
Keith was asking if it's, I think he's wanting to know if it's commonplace with snake keepers to, do breeding swaps and things like that. Yeah, it's pretty common. I've got several friends that will move animals between each other to support each other's projects and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's breeding loans are a thing for sure. I've heard of a lot of people that get burned by them, if they're not doing it with somebody that they know really well.
Right.
You have an agreement, and whether that agreement actually turns out or whatever, So I think it's important to do it with somebody that you already know and trust really well. And then make sure that the agreement is clear, I've thought about potentially getting a male on a breeding loan for my 2 super dwarf retics when they're ready to breed, rather than getting my own male to raise up.
Right.
I don't know if I'll do that or not, but I've thought about it as an option because I currently don't have a male. So
yeah, I think super dwarfs would be a really good thing to breed. I think in a lot of cases, I think it's the most responsible retic to breed.
It's a good one because they're not being overbred, and right now anyway, hopefully they won't be.
Right.
And they're a manageable snake. Depending on, there are bloodlines that still get really big, but if you're careful with who you get it from and what the bloodline is and everything, you can get a relatively manageable snake that's, even as an adult, is still fairly small.
Right.
Depending on what your definition of small is. Tim's definition of small is going to be quite a bit bigger than many of your definitions of small.
Yeah. It's much like the crews at work. Some of the guys at the company are amazed with them. Some people are terrified by them.
Yeah.
One of my crews, several Hispanic guys, plus the local gas inspector, was out working 4 minutes from my house late last summer. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my bow out. So and my bow is 6-7 feet. I took him out so that the guys could see him. And man, they were all, oh, he's huge. Look at the size of that snake.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help it. Everybody was amazed at how big my boa was. And I was like, okay, guys. So the next day, I come out and I wheel my plastic tub out and open it up. And my 16-foot retic crawls out on the grass, and I let him interact with her. I was like, now that's kind of almost a big snake. That's not even a big snake. So,
I have a neighbor who I'm very good friends with. His name's Lewis, and Lewis is becoming more comfortable with snakes. But every snake that he sees, even if it's a brand new baby ball python that just crawled out of an egg, he'll go, "Whoa, that snake is huge!" Like every snake that he sees is huge to him.
Man, I think the biggest snake that I've ever worked with was about 22 feet and right around 200 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a big snake.
It's so humbling. It really is. Get an animal that big. I had gone in one time on one of the bigger ones. It was about a 20-foot animal. Had went behind a standing freezer, and as she was coming out the other side, after 6-10 foot of her body came out of it, I started to pick her up. She wraps the rest of her tail around the freezer and starts dragging it across the floor.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at this animal dragging this chest or this standing freezer and just thinking, man, it doesn't make any difference how many times you see it. It's always amazing.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, those big snakes are super strong.
Yeah.
Southern Sam, I don't know when you posted this, but we did answer that question. Stargazing, there is no treatment for stargazing. I'm just trying to catch up here.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I figured between both of us, well. See, Keith was asking if I tried scenting it. No, I didn't. I haven't really pushed the Reptilinks a whole lot. I've still got a bunch of them in there. But my little male hognose is a picky eater as it is. He is all about eating on his own terms.
Big Gator Caesar is asking you what you think of croc monitors. I'll tell you what I think of them, though. They are my number one dream lizard.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, those things, a lace monitor could do some damage. A croc monitor can do major damage. Like that.
Monitor can kill you pretty easily.
Yes, they could kill you. Absolutely. Yeah. But highly intelligent. So, I mean, it's a dinosaur. You got a dinosaur, basically.
Yeah.
So cool.
Got a teeth on them things. Just incredible. I mean, just their whole mouth. I mean, you could tell by the shape of their mouth that there's weapons in there.
Yeah. Have you seen the comparison of the skulls between a croc monitor and a
it was like Asian water monitors and stuff.
Yeah, no, the big, again, I can't think of names. The biggest, what's the biggest lizard in the world? Yes, a Komodo dragon. Yeah. So between a Komodo and a croc monitor, you look at the Komodo skull and you go, wow, those are big teeth. And then you look at the croc monitor and it's like this. They're huge. It's way bigger than a Komodo dragon.
Yeah. I just like Tom Crutchfield when he took that bite a while back. And I mean, all the reconstruction that he had to have done because of that.
Yeah.
I've worked with croc monitors before, man. And it's just, if you know that the animal's not socialized, I mean, you're talking every precaution.
Stay away. Yeah.
I mean, I would go in and I would feed and be like, okay, we're good. We're not gonna push this relationship any further than it needs to until you're ready.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like a bite like I took from my Nile monitor, if that would have been a croc monitor, really good chance he would have ripped my neck up really bad. That could have been bad.
Yeah. I would, if I ever got a croc monitor, I would want it from a baby, from crawling out of the egg, and then I still would be super careful because there could always be an accident,
Yeah.
And it's just very significant. I always say I don't care if I get bit by a snake, even a larger snake. Right. It's not that big of a deal. Although, I mean, there are some that can be significant, but generally it's not that big of a deal. But man, with some of those, a croc monitor, it's a big deal.
See, this Pyromancy was saying, why are you saying he's challenging? I'm presuming I think the only thing he's talking about was Niles being challenging.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of goes right off of Caesar talking about Asian water monitors too. Actually, Nile monitors, the big difference between Nile monitors, it makes them a little more difficult to work with. Asian water monitors are kind of like the golden retriever of the monitor world. The Asians are just naturally have got a much better demeanor. They're easier to socialize, easier to work with. Niles are African monitors, and they've naturally got a much more hostile environment that they come from. You can go on and find videos of Nile monitors fighting off packs of lions standing their
Wow.
ground and backing them down, whipping them in the face with that tail.
Wow.
And so Niles have just got, you'll see some of them that are puppy dog tame. Some of them, and there's a lot of wild caughts too. You get a lot of really cheap wild caught Nile monitors, which of course makes them that much more difficult to work with. So they can,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they can be really. That's pretty much what makes them challenging, is the fact that they've naturally got a lot more.
And much more dangerous than a large snake, really.
Yeah.
Like a large retic can give you some pretty gnarly lacerations and could mess you up, but not always. You could also get a bite from a pretty large retic and it's okay.
Yeah.
Generally with a monitor lizard, a bite from them is not going to be okay.
Right. Yeah. The biggest retic I've taken a bite was a food response bite from about a 16, 17 foot female. And she bit me, held on for about 3 minutes, wrapped me up.
Where did she bite you?
Right here. She got a hold of me just like that. And took me about 3, maybe 4 minutes to get her off. And after I did, you get the hematomas blowing up on your hands because all those little teeth making all those little holes. And then the blood doesn't really have any way to get out. So it just puffs up.
Yeah.
And you wrap it up at the end of the day. Next day, you can hardly see it. Might be able to see a little bit of pinholes and stuff in there from it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you manage it right, even a big snake like that, they'll get you and you won't be able. The only problem I've got is I don't have full mobility anymore. Because she got some cartilage or something. I've got some scar tissue that landed right there. So I can't pull my hand all the way back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, a big animal is a big animal.
Yeah.
And, I always say when Echo bites me, it doesn't matter. I don't, my super dwarf retic, it doesn't, I don't even pay attention to her sometimes when I'm cleaning her cage. She might bite and wrap my arm up and I'll continue doing what I'm doing. And by the time I'm done, she'll let go. It's not a big deal. But it will be a big deal in 10 years when she's a pretty big snake. Even though she's a super dwarf, she'll be pretty big in 10 years.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, the bites, I don't know, man. I think anybody that's going to keep it, like you say, it's not necessarily a big deal with the smaller snakes because you don't really, they're going to hurt a little bit if you got a 5, 6, 7 foot snake or something. But
right.
I always tell the folks that get with the retics that want to keep mainlands or, big berms and stuff like that. You almost have to experience a bite one time if you're going to keep one, just so that you know how to manage it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Becca is asking if either of us have dealt with coccidia. I think is that an infection at their vent? I have not, but I think that's a vent infection. I might be wrong.
I'll look it up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Let me see. I know everything.
because you have Google.
I have Google.
Yeah.
So I see what it looks like. Let's see what it is. Da-da-da-da. Coccidiosis in dogs.
Jar Jar, I would love to come to Austin and go herping. Austin is one of my favorite places. It's definitely my favorite place in Texas to go. But I have not been herping in Texas. As many times as I've been to Texas, I've never been herping. And I'd love to go and find some snakes in Texas. I'm going to be in Barstow, California tomorrow looking for rattlesnakes.
Oh, man. Throw something at that place for me.
Throw something at it? Yeah. Barstow is not the coolest place in the world. I'm actually not going to be in Barstow, but
I actually think it's the hottest place in the world. Fort Irwin is out there.
Oh, yeah?
That's a national training center.
Uh-huh.
That's where the Army goes to do its desert training at.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Very uncomfortable place to be a soldier.
Yeah. Well, it's not that hot right now, but it's warm enough for hopefully speckled rattlesnakes to be out. And that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. I've struck out twice the last 2 weekends. And I'm checking to see where Maya is because I've let her go now. So she's free roaming the house. The last 2 weekends, I've struck out finding rattlesnakes, so I'm really hoping to find some of my favorite species of rattlesnake in Barstow tomorrow. We'll see.
No, cool. Yeah, I actually got hunted and killed by an Apache helicopter out there.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yeah. You talk about an experience, man.
I bet those, when you're in the military, those games are serious.
Yeah, because like when I went over there, I was stationed at Fort Hood, mechanized engineer out there in support of an Abrams tank battalion, and we was out there on exercise. We had like gear with lasers and detectors and all that stuff. So I was up in a mountain in like a sniper hide site, and I had my buddy over there with a sniper rifle, and I had an anti-tank weapon, and we're just sitting up here way up in this mountain in this hide site, just kind of killing everybody down below us. And they called Apache out. And we're sitting there, we're thinking we're smarter than everybody else. And this guy just comes. I heard him just a split second before I see him cresting the side of the mountain. And he comes out. He couldn't have been more than 50 feet in front of us. I could see the pilot's eyes. And he just had a big sheet-eating grin on his face. And you seen the little gun on the front of the Apache going like this.
And then, so what happens? Is there a laser or something that actually hits you, or do you just say, okay, they got us?
Yeah, in that case, it was just, we're good.
Yeah. That's crazy. I love it.
The coccidia intestinal parasite is what I'm picking up on it so far.
Okay.
Without just spending the time to sit here and read it. But.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I have not dealt with it, and I'm guessing Tim has not either.
No.
So Nicole's asking me, when am I coming back to Minnesota to hang with Emily and Ed from Snake Discovery or visit Clint? Well, I will be at Snake Discovery in August.
Oh,
so that's when. And I may be back to visit Clint soon. I don't have a date though. I don't know.
Greg, last time he went out and visited with Clint, he talked to him about coming on. I've got to get him on and pick his brain about some things. The big thing I really want Clint to weigh in on is, and I don't know how much he studies this, but I mean, this is his bread and butter, is what the situation in Florida in the Everglades actually is. I'd really like to find some ecologists that can weigh in on what the invasive problem, what the reality of it is, because everybody just says that they're out there killing everything that moves.
So.
Yeah.
I actually just attended a lecture by a PhD that specializes in that, in invasive species. And her specialty is the tegus that are invasive. But I asked her specifically about Florida because she's done a lot of work out there too. And she said a couple things that I didn't know that were new about that, because I've been to Florida a couple times looking for pythons. I don't ever find them. I'm not good at finding pythons in the Everglades.
Well, a lot of people say.
I think people that live there that know where they are can find them. I've had bad luck the last 2 times. But what was my point? So she, one of the things that she said that was really interesting, she had this graph that showed when an invasive species, when they're manageable, when it's a problem, and then when it's an unmanageable problem. And there was, alongside that graph was when the public hears about it. And when the public hears about an invasive species, it's almost at the completely unmanageable point. So we don't even hear about it until we've got a severe problem, which I thought was interesting. And then I asked her what they're doing other than I was impressed with a couple of years ago, they started catching adult male Burmese pythons, putting a tracker on them and letting them go. And then they follow them into the female dens, and that's where they're getting rid of the big females, which I think is brilliant. And I asked her if there was anything else like that they're doing that I haven't heard of yet. And she said that they're using drones now, because these snakes will swim from island to island and you can't see them, but a drone can see them in the water. So they're using these drones to find the swimming snakes, and then they'll go after them. that way, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that seems like that'd be almost the only way to do it.
Yeah, but they're still never going to get. They're never going to eradicate them.
Right.
And like the raccoon population is down 95% in the Everglades. Deer population, I mean, tons of mammals. It's
and see, that was one of the things, because we've heard a lot about the mammal population being cut down substantially out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other studies that I've heard of that say that everything's rebounding. It's starting to balance off.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that the natural predation of the nests. I mean, because, like, for instance, and the tegus are probably, the invasive tegus down here are probably going nuts, chowing down on Burmese eggs. Any eggs they love.
Could be. I mean, this is the thing about it is that in Southeast Asia, where Burms are from, there are predators that are really good at going after the babies and the eggs, and so a small handful,
right,
survive. But in Florida, even though they have some predators, they don't have the same predators as in Southeast Asia. So there's way more. Out of a clutch of 50, I don't know how many survive, maybe half, maybe 25, let's say. Whereas in Southeast Asia, maybe only, let's say, 5. I'm totally guessing and pulling that number out of my butt. But that's a problem. So you get another invasive species, a tegu, that'll take care of the Burmese. Sure, great, whatever, But it's definitely a problem for sure.
Right.
But ecologically, do you know what invasive animal causes the most problem in
cats?
Yeah, house cats.
Feral Australia just passed some new laws about the feral cats out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was like one thing short of it being a legal requirement to kill feral cats if you saw them. There was one study that I was reading too that showed some of the cats that they had killed, showed that they are re-evolving back to their natural state before they became domesticated. Because they're apparently, as there's so many of these that are feral now, that they're starting to go back to their natural color patterns. There's certain traits and everything before they became domesticated.
Really?
That they're starting to re-evolve back to what they were before they became domesticated.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see the photos of them and how the patterning is all coming back and stuff.
I like cats, but it's interesting that they cause more damage than any other animal to our ecosystem, but nobody's going to jump on board if we're calling for killing cats.
Right.
But everybody jumps on board when we call for killing pythons. I'm not saying we shouldn't kill those pythons. We definitely need to get rid of them in areas where they're invasive. But the fact that just the average person is totally cool with killing snakes, but not cool with killing cats,
it's hard for me because I've got my neighborhood right behind my house. I've got a good section of woods out here, and I've walked out there. I've tried to find snakes, I've got 4 or 5 feral cats that run around through here. And I'm like,
they're going to find the snakes before you do, for sure.
It's very, I don't like killing anything at all. It's very difficult for me to look at those cats and just let it live. Because I know they're destroying everything out there,
I know what you mean. Hey, don't miss Tara's super chat. She not only did she give you a super chat, she's pimping your Patreon.
Oh, hey, Tara. Thank you so much. Definitely appreciate it. I have still got to get my dancing gecko figured out. Man. I've got it good. I just don't have it figured out how it'll be transparent across the screen yet. Tara's like, please support Intrepid Exotics, and you can do the weekly Zoom. Get to know each other, show off snakes, help each other. It's so cool. Absolutely. Yeah, guys, we're always working on building the Patreon, and one of the reasons, outside of just being able to interact more closely with the community, the good thing about having that Zoom for the Patreon is, we can hear from the Patreon members in real time suggestions of things that you may like to do or see, or things that we can add, other things that we can, tack on as a benefit to the Patreon community as a thank you for supporting the channel.
There's also something about Patreon that if you do it right, and it sounds like you are, it creates a community with people. Like the people on Patreon can get to know each other and interact with one another, kind of on the level that you're doing in the chat, when you do a live stream, but on a deeper level. Which I think is great about Patreon communities. It's really cool.
Yeah, I have had some people asking for a Discord too, so I've got to start figuring that out.
Do Discord, Tim. I'm telling you, because I have a Discord that anybody can join for free, and but it's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's worth it. I have channels that are Patreon only channels, so anybody that's in the Horde of Keepers on my Patreon can get in and chat with one another on Discord. Patreon has a chat now that they do, and you can use that, and people do on mine, but Discord is better. So if you attach, so the idea is that if it worked well, ideally, if you're on Discord, if you're on Patreon, Discord, you can link your Patreon and Discord to where Discord will just recognize your Patreon members and automatically give them whatever perks you have on Discord. Doesn't always work perfectly. Sometimes we have to manually do it, but it's great for just the community being able to chat. So
I've had that suggested a couple times. Maybe it's changed since other people had advised me on it, but I was told that some of them need to be pretty heavily moderated because you get a bunch of trolls and stuff like that coming in, and
you know what,
and stuff like that.
I've never had that problem. We have and I don't think you would either, because I think that with the tone of your channel, you attract people with that tone. And I always say that I think I got lucky with my Discord, because I'm not in it very often, but there were some people that jumped in immediately and just set the tone. And it's pretty big now. It's over 1,000 people in my Discord.
Oh, wow.
And
that's awesome.
We've only kicked out 2 people. There's only been 2 people that had to be booted because of bad attitude or whatever, but they weren't, it's not like we're not getting a ton of trolls. There are Discords in the reptile community, though, that are problematic. And I've heard a lot about
that's my biggest fear, because I'm kind of in the same boat you are, because I have, I'm going on almost 3 years, man. I can just about count the negative comments I've had on 300 videos on one hand.
Yes. Yeah,
I might have a couple negative people coming in saying, I can't believe you keep that animal in a box. But for the most part, everything has been so positive.
Yeah, it's how you come across in your videos. And so you're attracting people that are going to give positive comments, or the negative people just feel like it's not worth it. They're not going to, they'd rather fight with somebody, like I'm never going to fight with anybody. I'm not, and so it's going to be very anticlimactic for someone who's looking for a fight to try to pick one with me, because there's, I don't care. I'm not going to fight with it. And so the Discord ends up being like that, at least for mine. And I think yours would too. I think you should start a Discord for sure.
Cool. Hey, I just seen Megan jump in. Talking about croc monitors. Yeah, croc monitors are happening. Green anacondas are on my list. Hydrosaurus, I'd like to get a melanistic black sailfin. Those are beautiful. I've seen that one picture going around of the melanistic with the bright blue eyes that just blew me away.
Sailfins are amazing.
Croc monitors can happen too.
Croc monitors are cool. Nicole's asking me what other animals that I've owned other than reptiles. Dogs. I'm highly allergic to cats. I like them, but dogs. I had a hedgehog once. I've had a duck. I've had small birds. I'm just thinking of my way back past.
Right.
It's probably it's non-reptile. The vast majority of animals that I've had have been reptiles in my life. Fish. I've had fish.
Let's see. Oh, I got to share this. This is a picture that just, I've got to find one of these days, because they're freaking amazing.
Man, look at that. Come
I know.
on. That face, that looks like a character animator designed it.
I
Doesn't
know,
it?
right?
Like that's a sail fin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So crazy.
It just does not even look real.
And those teeth are gnarly.
And then
Yeah, look how badass that is. There was one at the last Pomona show that I was at that was for sale, and I was like, man, if that didn't require a massive cage, and they're actually apparently a pretty rough pet to like, you got to really be committed.
yeah.
But man, how cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's as dinosaur to me as a croc monitor. That's what I want. I want two
Yeah.
massive cages side by side, croc monitor in one and a sail fin in the other. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing looking animals. So yeah, that's those three are kind of on my short list. I'd like to get a false water cobra too, because I think those are really awesome looking. False water cobras are nice.
I love a false water cobra. Man, last time I was at Snake Discovery, I actually spent some time. I ate my lunch in the cage of one of the false water cobras.
Nice.
That's in the video. I crawled into the cage to have my lunch in peace, and Roger crawled all over me. But I fell in love with that snake, and Clint was there to tell me all about them. And that, you know, if Clint tells me about an animal, I'm probably going to fall in love with it because he's a great salesman. So that's a snake that I would love to have, a false water cobra. They're super smart and awesome. Really cool.
And I feel like I am so far behind on comments here.
Yeah, I'm going through them right now. Jar Jar says he's on my Patreon, but not a paid member. He'll be in the Horde of Keepers soon. That's great. There is a free membership for Patreon. Do you do the free membership for your Patreon, Tim?
Yeah, there's a free membership on there.
I don't. I need to do more content for the free members, and I will start doing that. But it's cool that they can at least get in on that level and see whatever you have for them. I just don't put out much for the free members.
Yeah,
but I should.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, not everybody can have a whole bunch of different subscriptions and stuff like that, but yeah, like I said, I mean, the way when I first started setting up my my Patreon and channel memberships and things like that, is I had perks, I guess, set up that just makes me more accessible to people if they need help, they need personal, video chats with working with their animals and stuff like that. But I'm not all that big right now. So I'm just kind of now getting to the point where, I can see maybe in the next 6 months, getting more requests than I can handle.
Yeah.
And once you get so many people, you've got to triage it somehow.
I mean,
the Patreon's my triage for, stuff like that.
Well, in Patreon, when you start off a Patreon, you guys are getting behind the scenes stuff. But when you start a Patreon, you can offer a number of things, and then as it builds, it doesn't work to scale. Like I'm still manually sending out T-shirts and sticker packs, and I will do that as long as I possibly can. But it's a big job for me to do every month to manually handwrite notes and stuff like that. But there were other things on my Patreon or can't do that. Scale is too big at this point. So you just change things and everybody's cool with it. Like nobody has ever complained if I change stuff on Patreon,
Right. Yeah, it really is. I mean, the Patreon is a huge help for me because I don't do any breeding, of course. And I've got my little GPS mapping for the utility company is not a high-paying job. So
yeah. Well, and for as much time as it takes to do a YouTube channel, a lot of people don't realize that. Like for me, it's definitely a full-time job.
Yeah.
And then I do my other. I'm touring also. Fortunately, when I'm not touring, I'm home, so I'm able to do the thing. But it's a full-time job, and I always say, and it's for real. If it weren't for Patreon, Green Room Pythons would not be a channel. I could do it through COVID because I had the time. I could do it like as a love project through COVID. But once work started again, if I wasn't making some money off that channel, so that I could cut down the number of festivals that I perform at, and I've cut it in more than half at this point.
Right.
I wouldn't be doing the channel. So the folks that support our channels, it's really important.
Yeah. It really is. Makes a huge difference.
Because also people don't realize YouTube doesn't pay very much at all. Like you can't count on YouTube money. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like public television. These channels that you like are like public television, where if you want them to keep going, it's important to support them. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. The Patreon is really a huge help.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm hoping at some point here we start getting the subscriber count up on my channel. I mean, we're pushing 10,000 right now.
Oh, that's great.
And
That's
I'm
really
just,
good.
I'm trying to figure out how. I don't know. It's just an ebb and flow. I'm sure you know how it is. You're always trying to figure out what YouTube is thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just doing content for the right people, you'll eventually get, I could do bike content and get a ton of subscribers for people that want that aggressive, testosterone stuff, whatever. But I'm not going to do that. That's not what I'm,
Well, I'm really lucky in that respect. It's just the way I've set up the educational aspect of what I do. I can get on and pretty much yell at people for doing the dramatic, watch me get bit, like Jay going in there and fighting all of his retics for eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like one of my most popular series was with a little Sri Lankan, with him biting me 15, 20 times video. But the thing is that those bites aren't done, they're not the heart of the video. The heart of the video is showing how to socialize them and how to work through that stuff.
Right.
Instead of just doing it for dramatic effect.
Right. I did a video that where I compared the bites of 3 different species of python. Mm. And that video did pretty well because people wanted to see me get bit. And I did purposely get bit. I did it on a night where I knew I had a black-headed python, a reticulated python, and a ball python that were all in extreme food mode. And if I scented my arm with a rodent, they would bite me. And I was comparing the bites, but really what the video is saying, you guys have had all 3 of these snakes bite me, and none of them really caused any damage. Sure, we can compare and see which one is worse and whatever. None of them really hurt. None of them were a problem. You can't, once you clean it off, you can't even see where they bit me, so that people aren't afraid of their snake that they just got from the pet store and now they're getting a little bit nervous. Yeah. But people like to see the bite content.
That was the whole reason why it was a big reason why I put out the stuff with little Sri Lankan over there, is just, let people know, look, this is Velcro. He's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Nothing dramatic about this. You can handle your snake and help him get over it without being scared of him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you bet. As soon as I get the Discord going, Tara, I'm going to be getting a hold of you.
Tara would be a great moderator.
Oh yeah.
By the way, when I was telling you that you were missing her super chat, she was at the same time texting me saying, "Tim's missing my super chat. Help!" But I was helping her at the exact same time.
Nice.
Anyway, I didn't have a moderator for the first year to year and a half of the Discord that I have. And now I have a team of really good moderators. But I just didn't need it. And I didn't even think about it because everybody was so nice.
Right.
But moderators are important especially when more people jump in and it gets a little bit bigger. It's important because you don't know who's going to be in there. So,
right. Oh, wow. Yeah, I am way behind on these comments here. Uh-oh. Let's see. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Did I miss?
Tevi is saying that Tim at Intrepid Exotics comes up in Bob's Discord rather often. We tend to suggest people check out your content alongside Snake Discovery Clint's and Lori Torini. There's a lot of crossover
Cool.
in the topics and approaches you and Bob present. I signed up for USARK back in August because of Intrepid Exotics. We in the Horde, that's my Patreon, were jazzed to hear about this live stream. Oh, cool. That's great, Debbie. Good to see you on here.
Oh, cool. See there, I almost missed another one scrolling through here. Becca, super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, that's what you was talking about. That's what you was just reading out, wasn't it?
No,
that's a different one.
That's a different one.
No, Becca says you recently discovered my channel while looking for videos on how to handle your spicy BCI. Thanks for the tips on handling spicy snakes. Absolutely. I appreciate that. I hope things are going good. And if you guys, this is one of the things that I really enjoy doing too. I've got one couple that's contacted me. I think we're rescheduled to next week sometime, but they have got, I think it's a retic that they're having a hard time working with. So we're going to do a video chat, and they're going to, they agreed to let me record it and use it pretty much as for educational purposes. Couple things on that. If you guys have got larger snakes, you're just having a really difficult time reading, and you're afraid of it, you're afraid of getting bit, then by all means, hit me up. We can set up a time where we can do a video chat where I can watch and kind of help, pick apart what's going on and see if I can help. But a big point on that too is that I don't record or publish any of that stuff unless you guys are 100% on board with it. And so that's not part of a requirement to help people with their snakes. So don't feel obligated, if you're hitting me up and you're like, I need help, but I don't want everybody, I don't want the world to see it. That's cool. We'll still do it. There's no obligation, but
that's cool that you do that.
Yeah. And like I said, I enjoy doing that stuff. It's a lot of fun, and I love seeing people having them, working with people and having to get better for them. And the more people that get on board, sooner or later, like I said, you just got to triage them. But I love the stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm looking for my black-headed python. She's around here somewhere.
Just know that over a camera, over a StreamYard call or something, if you get bit, I can't pull the snake off for you. So
yeah, that's
you gotta have somebody there to help you.
That's the thing. Okay, I will be right back. Give me
no worries. I'm gonna go ahead and catch up on the chats that I've been missing. Let's see. I'm gonna have to get Chloe out there. I'm surprised Chloe's still sleeping, man. She's probably sleeping off a headache from squishing her head in that enclosure. Poor girl. I'll take her out in a minute, and I'll show you what she did and how she did it. So maybe if you guys have got enclosures similar to this too, you can. Matter of fact, while he's off camera, I will catch up. We'll catch up on chats in a second. But I'll show you guys like one of the negative things that you may have to deal with with enclosures like this. So when I built this one, like I had two platforms, one here, and I measured them out so that they were really close to the doors so that she wouldn't have enough room to get in there. Well, she doesn't have a way to leverage herself on this side. This side that I had to fix, I had to put a rubber door seal underneath here so that she can't get up there anymore, because there was just enough play in the door. It opened up like that, just enough to where she'd get in, push her nose up there. Come on, let's show everybody what you did to yourself. Come on. To me, this kind of comes across. This reminds me of walking in the bathroom and seeing your kid had just cut half of their own hair off with their plastic scissors. And this is little Chloe, my little brat. But yeah, you can see where she was squeezing up in between there. And she just started doing this just a couple days ago. And now she's got a couple little, like blood blisters up there on the top of her head. Poor girl.
What a beautiful snake, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is. Let me see if I can pull this thing down. But yeah, from squeezing up under that thing, she ended up bruising her whole spine. So I had to go in and fix that thing and so that she couldn't get up underneath there.
Wow.
And I've had her in that thing for months and months and months, and she's never done it. And just a few days ago, I look over, and you could see her like smashing her face and shaking, trying to get through there. But yeah, she is a really sweet animal.
That's cool.
I
found my the thing that's unfortunate for my free roaming snakes is that they live in a house with a really good python catcher, and
really,
she's been caught.
Yeah, this girl, she was in pretty bad shape when I got her. Really ice cold in an empty house, no water.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she a dwarf?
No, she's a mainland lavender female.
Beautiful. Lavender is such a pretty.
Oh combo. Yeah. She's gonna be an awesome ambassador animal for our educational events and stuff like that. She's gonna be great.
Yeah. How old is she? Do you know?
Less than 2, around 2, something like that. If I had to guess. I'm really bad at guessing age, but I can't see her being any more than 3 years old.
Yeah.
But I think she'd be a lot bigger than that. But the very first time I went and picked her up, I seen her in that little fish tank. I opened up the doors and reached in and grabbed her, and she immediately just came right to my chest and stayed there. Didn't cool. Move. She just sat there soaking up the warmth, and she stayed that way. And it's the coolest thing because for a retic and their food response, she has got so much control over her food response. I never use a hook. I can reach right in, grab her, pull her out. She never refuses food. But if I offer her something, you can see her stopping and figuring it out first. She stops. She recognizes the rodent and she takes enough time, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is okay." Yeah. She never has an active food response when I reach in to grab her or anything like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I've put that to the test so many times with her. Just reached in, going, "Okay, this time she's hungry. She hasn't eaten in a week and a half. She's gonna get me." Crawls right out on my arm.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. She's a really sweet girl.
My 2 retics are the opposite in that way. I have one that has never bit me. Even in food mode, she tongue flicks first. If it's me, she relaxes. And then I have another one that has bit me so many times, mainly because I'm not careful with her, but there's a live stream that people talk about a lot where I had Echo around my hat. Yeah. And she's hanging off my hat in ambush position. Yeah. And I mention it. I go, "You guys look, Echo's in ambush position." And then less than a minute later, I went to adjust, totally brought my, and she, which was pretty ridiculous.
That was kind of similar to what the Sri Lankan did to me. He was on my arm. He was sitting right here. And I looked over at him, and I could tell it was coming. As soon as I seen him, I just looked at him. I was like, "Don't bite me." And the second my nose came back straight again, he just popped me in the side of the face.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Everybody was like, "It's almost like you told him to bite you, and he listened." It's like, no, you can read your behavior sometimes. You know when they're getting ready to get you.
Yeah, I have, knock on wood, I have never been bit in the face before.
That was my first time.
Yeah, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to have that experience of being bitten in the face.
I don't know. As small as he was, no big deal. They just barely bled. Well, of course, I do gotta say he has struck me in the face one time since then, but it wasn't an open mouth strike. He just punched me with his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled him out, and he was like, "Leave me alone, dude."
So my friend Amy Benzie, who keeps Amazon basin tree boas, the snakes with the longest teeth of any non-venomous snake in the world is the Amazon basin. She's been bit in the face by one.
Oh, really?
Which is pretty crazy. It wasn't a terrible bite, and it was a total accident. Her snakes are sweethearts. Yeah. But she did get bit in the face by an Amazon basin.
Man, so she just put like an earring in there, right over there.
yeah, totally. It's just ready for jewelry now.
Yeah, Scabby said he joined USARK because of me too. Appreciate it. That's awesome. That's why I say it. That's why I remind everybody, join USARK.
That's cool that you're pimping USARK like that. I don't do that enough on my channel, and I should. I made a video for them a while back.
Yeah.
But I should talk about them more on my channel.
Yeah, I'm as time permits, I've got all my list of things to do just keeps getting longer instead of shorter for some reason. I want to kind of change up my channel intro and shorten it a little bit and just build in a USARK promo to it.
It's a good idea.
That way I don't have to worry about forgetting.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But I do, on at least every Saturday, I go over something on it. If nothing else, just bring up the website.
That's cool.
And it's $40 a year. I mean, how much does it cost to have DoorDash come to your house?
Yeah, for the bronze membership, $40 for a year. Like everybody who keeps a reptile should be a member of USARK. It's like no matter what you keep, you got a salamander, spend $40 on a membership to USARK. You know, like whatever. Yeah.
And if anybody, and I tell everybody every live stream too, if there's some people out there that don't support USARK because they either don't understand where the money goes, they don't understand something about it, they've heard something. Anybody is more than welcome to contact me at any time. If I don't have the answer to your question, I can call Phil directly and get an answer from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. Phil does a good job over there.
I don't have a whole lot of faith in humanity to begin with. I'm a fairly cynical person anymore. I think honor is dead. And so the people that I support, the organizations that I support, are very few and far between. I'm 100% on board with USARK, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Slow Prod made a good point, saying, I thought it was cool when some breeders included a 1-year bronze membership with the sale of an animal. That's actually a really good idea to say, I'm going to donate $40 in your name to USARK. You're going to be a member. You know, it's a good idea.
Yeah, I know Gary with Constricted and Addicted is really helpful about that stuff.
Erica's saying she's been bit in the face by her boa.
Oh, fun.
You know what, Erica? I don't blame him. If I was a boa, I'd bite you in the face too. No offense. No offense. Yeah.
Erica's got some pretty awesome animals too.
Yeah, she does. Yep. She's got Erica's got 1 or 2 of my snakes. I think.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. Tara said her beard. He's got a stuffed animal to sleep on top of. All right, this is really. I would let her run around, but I've got the window open and I don't want her crawling outside. I would never find you. It's dark outside. Yeah. This snake is something else, man. I will go into her enclosure, open up the door, and just stick my face down there, and she'll just crawl right out of my head. I have zero concern of this girl ever biting me.
What a cool snake.
Yeah, she's.
Erica says, "Gee, thanks," as though she's offended by my comment. It was a compliment, Erica. Come on.
Yeah, Chloe's a pretty popular little girl around here.
Yeah, it's a cool snake. Maya has collected all the. Maya finds every dust bunny that's in. She is always. Maybe I don't see it on the other snakes. Maybe it's just easy to see on her black face. But man, she goes nose first into any little dust bunny.
Oh man,
I'm gonna put her back.
All right. My deal with this mouthful of coffee grounds I just took out of the bottom of this coffee cup.
Oh, that's the worst.
I know. Erica was saying her retics are the same as Chloe. They figure out really quick where the food's at. I'm just there is something about reticulated pythons that just
they're so smart and really just interactive and different. The snake that I have now that is the the closest seeming in personality is my little pygmy python. And she seems highly intelligent and interactive, and I'm excited for her to get full size. Somebody was asking about the size, and I didn't mention this, but this is a great comparison. Pip at full size is going to be the same size as a mainland reticulated python when it hatches out of the egg. About 19 inches long, 150 to 200 grams, something like that, I think is the size of a hatchling
nice
retic. But their personalities seem to be kind of similar, and I'm excited for her to get to full size so that she's at least the size to be a little bit more interactive, even though that's still super tiny,
Right.
Yeah. Antaresia are cool.
Oh man, I made it to the end of the comments. How did I do that?
Tim, we're almost 3 hours into this live stream.
No way. Are we? Damn, I guess we are.
2 hours and 47 minutes in as of right now. Not that I'm keeping time, but
man, yeah, I didn't even notice until you just now said something. I realized it's 9:47 here. That's what I said. I mean, Bob and I was talking before we went live tonight. He's like, "You got anything specific you want to talk about?" It's like, I don't know. We'll just turn it on, and before you know it, it'll be 3 hours later. And before we know it, it's 3 hours later now. So,
yep. That cool. Is it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do this again at some point. You know what I'd like to do is there's a couple reptile rescues out here, and every now and then they run into issues where they've got to generate vet bills and stuff like that. I'd like to, one of the next times that they do that, I'd like to start a full day long live stream and just get everybody that I can to pop in and stuff like that, and just do a big fundraiser for them. And
yeah, that's cool. That'd be really cool to do. Yeah. I thought about doing a 24-hour live stream for USARK. Yeah, I probably will at some point. I just haven't yet.
All right.
But that's a great idea to do it for a rescue.
Yeah. Because we've got this one rescue out here not too far from us. She typically just does local native wildlife, but every now and then we'll do a reptile or something like that, or a pet. And of course, they don't have a whole lot of money to work with. None of the rescues have got enough money to work with. So we're always looking, do fundraisers for vet bills and stuff. But yeah, I would jump in and help with a 24-hour USARK thing. Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun to do. Becca's asking me why I don't have a carpet python. I love carpet pythons. I don't have one because I don't have the room for. I would love to have a carpet python in an arboreal cage, like a large, tall, and I don't have the room for that here. So at some point, I'll probably have a larger facility and I can do that. But that is why I currently don't have a carpet python.
Yep. And anything that anybody asks me why I don't have it, it's because I don't have enough room right now.
So, same with the scrub python. I would love to have a scrubby. Scrub pythons are so cool, but same thing. They need an arboreal type cage. Warrior Brood asking why I don't have a Bolin's python. I don't know why I don't have a Bolin's python. Why? Somebody please send me a Bolin's python.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that same group that I got the Jag Pondro from, there was a Bolin's in that one of our other friends up here has right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So like, cool. That's the dream snake too, you know.
Yeah, Kevin's really proud of his. He's doing a lot of work with the Bolin's now. Kevin's a nerd. Yep.
Really cool to watch him work with those snakes too. They're just, you know, like I listen to podcasts that Ari Flegel, is it Ari Flegel? The guy that goes and studies them in the wild. So he's going every year to Papua New Guinea. For years he's done this. He goes multiple times a year usually. He's got relationships with the villages and so because it's dangerous to go to Papua New Guinea. You know, like that's a dangerous place to be. But he's got relationships and everything. And he goes and finds them in the wild. And he says that they don't have any predators. So there's no defensiveness at all. Like he can go and find a large mama that's curled up in her nest, and he can pick her up and put her in his lap, measure her, do all the things, just acts like a tame snake because they have no concept of being predated.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. So cool.
That's awesome. Brian was asking what got us into the reptile industry.
I would say that I've been in the industry since I was a kid because I've always had reptiles since I was a kid.
Yeah. I've just got a fascination with animals. I always have, and I've moved every 2 years of my life practically up until 8-10 years ago when I moved to North Carolina. So as soon as I got out here and I planted roots, and I was like, okay, I'm not moving anymore. Now I can do this stuff. So.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I love all animals. I'm fascinated by any animal. I'm fascinated by the squirrels outside my house, like anything. But reptiles are fascinating to me because they're so different, and I love trying to unlock what's going on in their brain. They're just so different than mammals, than what we are and what we're used to, dogs and cats, things like that.
Right.
So they're cool.
Yeah, they're so easy too. I mean, I know a lot of people, if you've got a ton of them, you know, they're going to keep you busy. But if you've only got, 15 to 20 snakes, 15 to 20 reptiles in general, they are not difficult to take care of at all.
Yeah. Erica just answered a question that I was wondering a couple days ago. Because Gary put out a video. He got a shipment of Bolin's in, and he said he was going to put them up on Morph Market. And he said they were going to be cheaper than you normally see them. And so I went to Morph Market to see, and they weren't up yet. And then I forgot about it. But Erica's answering my question. Yeah, they're usually $12,000, 10 to 12 grand. And Gary's got them up for $7,000 to $9,000. So if anybody wants to give Tim or I $7,000 to $9,000, we would appreciate it.
That's my pitch. I'll spend the next 6 months making videos about them. We'll do Bolin's videos every week.
Please send both Tim and I each $7,000 to $9,000, and we promise to give you good video content.
There is a gazillionaire out there somewhere watching this that could do this and not ever miss it.
Right. Watch $7,000 to $9,000. Go to Gary, and he's like, "Sorry, they're sold out." No. We need 5,000 more to buy one from Kevin now.
Right. So. That's what I keep hoping, man. I keep hoping one of these days some billionaire is going to be flipping through YouTube and go, you know what? This guy wants to build an educational center. Instead of giving this money to this politician this year so he can just screw everything up, how about if we give it to the reptile guy and let him build a facility? and do some
Great
good.
idea. Yep.
So any billionaires that see this,
You don't even have to be a billionaire. Just a millionaire.
Yeah.
Or maybe a thousandaire that's willing to part with a significant amount of money.
Right? That's the thing, man. It would not take. I look at so much money that goes into political campaigns and things like that. I'm like, you know what? If somebody was just kick me $1 million out here in Central North Carolina, I could do a lot with that.
I'm in Southern California, so I can't, but I could do a lot more with $1 million than I can with the amount of money that I currently have. So
yeah, I mean, out in Southern California, I mean, you drop 50 grand in a weekend, and not even realize how you did it.
Yeah. Yep. One of the reasons why I'm in a small space here and don't have a larger facility.
Right. Oh, I mean, I just like being up in New York City or something like that. I mean, if you're not in a rent controlled apartment, you got to be making well over 6 figures a year to live up there and have room to turn around in your house.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am other than my snakes, and I have a number of instruments too. Other than that, I'm pretty much a minimalist. I don't have a ton of stuff.
Right.
So I can fit in my small space, which is mostly snakes. And then I live here too. That's kind of how I describe it.
Right.
You know,
I'm much the same way. I've got my little office right here. My PC. I'm a gamer too, so I've got my gaming PC that I use to edit everything on. And got that, and my bed. The rest of the stuff's animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me see what else we got. Well, yeah, man. Look, we've been going hard for 3 hours. I think it's about time to stop and grab something to eat.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna get ready for my trip tomorrow. Hopefully,
Right.
I'll find some rattlesnakes.
Yeah. Post some pictures on Facebook with anything you find.
Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to put together a herping video, and I
Right.
started with, I spent a weekend with my Patreon people that are local to Southern California herping in Joshua Tree, and we only found a few lizards. They were cool, but only a few lizards. So then I went to Utah, and I thought, okay, I'll find a ton of stuff. Right. We found a snake and a couple lizards. So still not enough for a full video. So now I'm going by myself up to Barstow, where there's supposed to be speckled rattlesnakes all over in this one area. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll strike out, but we'll see.
I don't know. I have found a coral snake. I think that's where we was at when I found it. It was a long time ago. I know Texas is really hot on tarantulas. I found a lot of big spiders out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this was cool. It was good to finally get a chance to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was fun. Cool to have all these people in the comments. A lot of people I recognize in the chat.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. I figured it would be really similar to your just regular live stream, because so many of the folks on my channel will follow you as well. So
yeah. It was nice though to be able to read the chat. I can never read the chat on my own because I'm worried about doing so much other stuff, and there's less pressure when I'm the guest, so I can go through and read.
I know that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Don't get bit tomorrow.
I will try not to. I'll do my best to not get bit. I appreciate it.
Hey, I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight, man. It was great to see everybody again this weekend. I know we missed the Zoom call for Patreon tonight, but we will be back on that next Saturday. And at some point, Bob and I'm sure we'll do something else. But in the meantime, you guys all have an outstanding rest of the weekend.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.